Welcome to another edition of Bottom of the Bill, ladies and gentlemen. We've got Lazuli Vane with us today.
Howdy, howdy.
Thanks for being here, man. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Anton. Good to be here, man.
Yeah. Well, before we get started, let's do the obligatory cheers.
Cheers, cheers.
Cheers, boys.
I always do the tap just because.
I'll tap my knee.
I'm not a tap guy.
Yeah, I don't know why I started doing it, but started doing it.
Yeah.
All right. So before we get started, just a couple of things. We have Orange Blossom Review with Side Hustle, with the Wood Brothers and a bunch of other really great bands coming on December 3rd.
It's finally coming up.
It's finally coming up now.
We've been talking about it since March.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, get your tickets now. It's not for another 9 months, but now go get your tickets.
Now go get your tickets for sure.
Not messing around.
And then we got some other stuff that I can't really announce just yet, but what do you got going, Bill?
Well, by the time this comes out, you should be at 1904 seeing Greenhouse Lounge play. That's our band, and then the day after that will be Stanford, and then better have your tickets for Halloween because we're playing that Friday night at 8:30 on the campground stage.
Sweet.
So we got that. And then Side Hustle, we've got something in November, don't we?
Yeah, I can't.
We can't talk about it.
Can't say anything yet.
So.
And then also you guys are. Dave just announced that Greenhouse is dropping the live album.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're having a live album that's gonna come out on Wednesday. On all streaming platforms, but that was 2 days ago now since it's Friday.
Okay.
The real world.
So go check it out now then. What's it called?
It's live from. Oh man, I feel so bad. I just saw the flyer. No, but it's from our show with on October 30th of last year.
At 1904.
At 1904, it was a great show. But I think it's called Live from Home Base. That's what it's called.
Nice.
'Cause that's where we are in Jax.
Right.
Yeah.
And you got anything coming up that you want to promote? Anything, gigs or music coming out or anything?
Yeah, I got some music coming out. Got a song called Chamomile Smoke Rings coming out on the 29th of this month, October. And got a song coming out as well, another one on November 12th.
November 12th.
Yeah.
Okay.
So October 29th, November 12th.
Definitely make sure you check out Lazuli's music because I love what you're doing, man. It's so good. It's like,
thanks, man.
I don't know how to describe it, and I'm not even gonna try because trying to put shit in a box sometimes is not the way to do it. And I don't think that your stuff really fits in any one box. It's just very creative, and I love what you're doing for sure.
Thank you.
What do you think, Bill?
I think I don't want to, I don't want to like tag you and say something that you don't like, but I think it sounds kind of like, you know Rex OC, Rex Orange County?
Yeah.
I think it kind of sounds like that, but
That's
like
awesome.
Not softer and definitely not as like creepy, because he says some weird shit, and yours actually is like poetic and like the lyrics make sense, and it's not just like the rambling of an 18-year-old kid. He's a wonder kid, like he's
he's amazing. Yeah,
but at the
he's
same
incredible.
time, like he's like, oh, how hard is your life? And he has to make stuff up, whatever, but. At the same time, I really like it too. It's in that vein of stuff, singer-songwriter, but a little more deeper than acoustic kumbaya guitar. Is all I gotta say.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks,
So how did you get started? Where do you come from? Are you from Jax?
No, I was born in Augusta, Georgia.
Okay.
And raised there till I was like, I guess 18, 19. And then So everything for me musically started there. The community there was a lot of good mentorship there for me as a kid. A lot of guys that were in bands and that chose family life later, you know. But they were just, I don't know, good people, and they were just willing to invest their energy in me and show me things, you know, and show me how music works, and they'd be excited for me, and it's a really sweet thing, man. So I don't know, home, I kind of owe everything to Augusta, even though there's not much going on there musically as far as a music scene or business goes right now. Still, when I go home, it's sweet, man. Yeah.
It's a cool town, man. We played at Fox's Lair one time.
Mm-hmm.
Are you familiar with that spot?
Mm-hmm.
It's a really cool.
I love that place.
Yeah, man.
Over there in like Old Town, like down there in the.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Oh, dude, they have the soup nights. You ever been to a soup night?
No. We just played
I
there
don't know
one
if
night
it's
when we were on the road.
Yeah.
It was just like an in-between spot or something.
Yeah,
but
they let us stay up in the Airbnb above it for free.
Oh, I've never been up there.
Then they also told us to lock up the bar when
We were done.
Yeah. Which basically meant just like whatever you want,
Yeah.
it's yours.
Yeah.
Specifically, as much as you can drink. We're just like, all right, challenge accepted.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Augusta was nice. We were only there for like just like a night, and then we
Yeah.
left. So
Yeah.
don't know a lot about it.
Yeah.
But so what was it like coming up in the scene there? I guess you said you had some mentors. Were you going to jam sessions or what were you?
Yeah, man. Like a lot of people, I learned a lot of music in church, man.
Okay.
And like that's where it all kind of started. And obviously, the line I have towed in terms of that whole spiritual thing has been pretty bizarre. So probably a lot of those people at home are probably watching me from afar, like, what the hell is that guy doing? But that's okay with me. But but I did get a lot of my musical start there. I actually started taking lessons from Dave Haywood from like Lady Antebellum when he was in high school.
Oh, wow.
And I was like 9, and my mom was friends with his mom, and she was like, do you want to take guitar lessons? And I was like, sure. She's like, there's this kid down the street, and he can teach you for like $10 an hour. And I was like, okay. And then and so I started taking from Dave for like a year or so, and then he went off to college at UGA, and then I was without a teacher. But then I had a few more just awesome teachers that found me, and I started making little albums. I ended up starting to teach guitar when I was 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I just started like teaching people of all ages for like $10 an hour, and
Yeah.
that was how I paid for my first little like Pro Tools LE rig, like 2004, and that, you know, that kind of like my little inbox, and that got me started recording. First, I had a little 8-track, and I did what I could with that, and then I made a bunch of crappy albums all the way through high school, and eventually they got less and less crappy.
Yeah, hopefully that's
Yeah.
the trajectory, right?
That's pretty much how music went for me. Yeah.
Yeah. What when did you discover that you were passionate about music and that you wanted to pursue it as a career?
Oh man, I was young, man. I was like 12, 13.
Yeah.
I became obsessed. Like, I really liked to shred. I liked to play I was just learning like Van Halen songs and like Extreme and like all this, just like, you know, 80s hair metal and like classic rock, and like I was just, you know, the guitar path, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like everybody follows that guitar path. You read like, you know, if you play guitar like in your middle school, you pick up Guitar World magazine and you play like, you know, you play Iron Man, and you learn eventually you learn every note, and you realize there's a lot going on in that song, and then you're like, you know,
Yeah.
you know, that whole like that old chestnut, man.
For sure.
The old rock and roll path.
You ever
Yeah.
learn any Van Halen or anything like that?
No.
He was just born like jazzy. It's the weirdest.
Really?
No, I didn't like jazz when I was younger. It took me a long
I don't
time
believe that.
to I was not exposed to it at all growing up. That
Really?
didn't come in the picture till I was in my early 20s, and I started meeting guys that were, you know, schooled musicians. I started forming bands with them, and they were like, "Hey, man, you need to step your game up, and
Yeah.
this is how you're gonna do it." And
Yep.
they started showing me all kinds of shit, and I was like, "Oh, this is like." At first, it was like I don't really like this, and I kept listening, and I was like, "Oh, I see now."
Yeah.
But when I was growing up, I also didn't like. I listened to what my dad listened to. My dad was like super into Zeppelin and like a lot of the British rock stuff, you know, that was coming out in the 60s and 70s. So that was really where I was kind of pulling my inspiration from. And then blues, you know, like started with Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then as I got older, you know, you start going back and discovering like the real guys, you know.
Yeah, totally.
But so that was definitely my thing. So I still don't have those chops now, like the shredding chops. I do not have that in me now.
I don't have them anymore.
You don't have them anymore?
No.
He's like, you learn all the finger tapping stuff.
Yeah,
And you're like,
I mean
I'm
that was
just
like
done with
that
it.
was like 2 years of my life where and I never like could like shred like Eddie Van Halen, you know, but that was just like something I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
And for 2 years I was like really into that, you know, and then my hormones hit, and I was like, oh, feelings, like music's about feelings. It's
Yeah.
not about like, and then I realized at like 14, 15, all of a sudden I was into like Drive Through Records bands, you know, I was really into like emo and stuff.
Right,
And
yeah, I
got
definitely went through that
into,
phase,
like,
yeah.
And then, you know, but then I also started getting into jazz in high school, not playing it, just like being in awe of it.
Right,
So,
right.
Yeah, that path was That was just the very start of it, you know.
I feel like everyone definitely goes through that when they're first starting out. It's like you get impressed by all the flash factor, the shock factor of the instrument, and then you get to that next level and you're like, oh man, there's like so much beneath the surface here, you know.
Yeah, and it's like that. Yeah, that doesn't take my feelings anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes it does.
Were your parents musical or anything like that?
Not so much. I hear tell that my mom played a little bit of saxophone in the jazz band, but she's in the high school band, but she never whipped that out for us. My great grandfather was musical. He played like all the bluegrass instruments. He he lived on a tobacco farm in North Carolina. It was and that was like kind of I went there a lot growing up. So my great grandfather is the only one.
That's interesting. I think that's why you just get that step though, because his dad's a musician. And so, like, and then no, he was like, you don't need all this.
Yeah, his dad's like setting him
beginning.
straight right at the beginning, like, hey man, listen, that's just it's hollow.
Just go, just skip it, just go right to Bowie, just don't even worry about
it.
it.
There's definitely a lot of that, man. I remember one time when I was in high school, I was recording my first song that I had written a couple of things. It was the first song I wrote with lyrics, and my dad's friend, when he's a drummer, he was like my first mentor, and he passed away when I was 18. But when I was 17, I was going to record my first song with him, and I remember like being in the studio and like going through the motions and like learning how to play to a click track and like learning about the microscope that you're under when you're there, just all these things started coming to reality for me.
Yeah.
And then he was pointing out something. We were listening to a Bad Company song, Shooting Star. It's a great song, and at the end of the song, there's like these little licks that are just kind of happening in the background. You can almost like not even they're almost like not even there, but they're there. And he was pointing them out. He's like, you see that right there? Like that's the kind of stuff that people listen to. They don't even know that they like it, but it's so simple and tasteful, and it's so effective. He's playing 3 notes, and I just like that always resonated with me, Yes. So just like little shit like that when I was a teenager. That kind of so to your point, there was definitely like a bit of a skipping through some phases that most people probably.
Your dad ever put on like Leonard Skinner or Molly Hatchet and was like, "No, this is music."
My dad hated. My dad's Cuban. He hated that shit.
Oh well, yeah, that's fair. Well, I don't know any Cuban artists. Your dad put on Pitbull, and you were like,
"Yeah." I love Pitbull. When I was 15 years old, bro. I'm from South Florida, so it's like, are you kidding me? Pitbull came out. It was like the first rapper in like 20 years to put Miami on the map. Yeah. We're just like, fuck yeah, bro.
Yeah, dude.
It's terrible, but I mean, it was really exciting when you're 15 years old. It's Mr. Worldwide. I'm sorry.
Mr. Worldwide,
he's everywhere.
Mr. Worldwide.
Mr. Ubiquitous. Such a good band name. Oh my god, that's better than Mr. Worldwide. I gotta write that down. But that's what my pops always said. It was like it's AC/DC and Molly Hatchet, 38 Special, Leonard Skinner. Nothing will compare. Oh, and the Boss, obviously the Boss. But I have a theory about Bruce Springsteen is once you turn 30 years old, all of a sudden you like Bruce Springsteen.
Yeah, I liked him when I was very young.
Because you were born.
I'm 31 and I'm just not that into Bruce Springsteen.
You're not into it?
We can just skip straight to the unpopular opinion, man, because I don't really like Bruce Springsteen that much.
You don't like Springsteen? I get it though. I get it.
Just something connected, and I was just like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
This is what it is.
Yeah.
It's just like it's for working class people. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, I've had it explained to me, and like I do get that appeal. It's just actually musically, when I actually sit down and actually consume it with my ears, I'm actually not that into it.
Yeah.
But like I get like his appeal, and I like respect the man very much.
He doesn't.
Rosalita's a great song though.
Oh yeah,
amazing arrangement.
Oh yeah, some of the songs are really good too.
Yeah.
Bruce, if you're watching, just take a break from singing every now and then.
That dude looks like he's just always about to have a stroke when he's on stage.
Yeah, he does.
He sings so aggressively.
Yeah,
it's like, bro, just tone it down. You got 2 hours up there.
I love it.
So what were your early creative projects? Like, were you in bands when you lived in Augusta?
Yeah, I was in a lot of bands. I had we had an old kind of a hardcore band, and our motto was "We suck on purpose." And
we suck on purpose.
Yeah, we were called Stiletto Fight.
Nice.
And
That's awesome.
the bassist from that band is my friend. He ended up marrying my sister, which is awesome.
Nice.
Had a few bands back then. A lot of them with terrible names, and tried a bunch of different things. Just kind of like, you know how you do. Just try everything. But I also would like make like weird art records in my bedroom, and like we'd experiment. Me and a couple of friends who were like my weirder friends, like we would get together and experiment. We'd like take all the amps we could find and like turn them on and plug a bunch of shit into them and face them to each other and put microphones in them so they create this weird feedback, and then we go get lunch and record the whole thing and then come back and record a bunch of stuff over that, and
No shit.
just like weird shit like that. And we do it all the time just for fun, and we'd get this gleeful giggles and when we create like bizarre, terrible sounds and then make them get something beautiful out of that eventually, you know, as you keep layering it. And that I think taught me a lot, weirdly, just about the recording process.
Yeah, 100%, man. That's the whole thing, right? Just experiment and just throw shit at the wall and see what sticks, you know?
Yeah. And so I when I was in high school, like, you know, I didn't grow up in a very big house or anything, but my family was pretty kindly supportive of me in the sense that, like, they let me make a shit ton of noise all the time, and they let me take over the, like, there was like a bedroom with a back bedroom, and they're small little bedrooms, but I got rid of my bed and I slept on a mat on the floor for 4 years. The last 4 years I was at home, like in high school. So I slept on a mat on the floor, and I just like, I would work, I'd like, you know, mow lawns and teach cheap guitar lessons, and then I'd buy gear, and crappy gear, most of it, but whatever I needed to get something done. And I would just get in those 2 little rooms with my mat on the floor, and I would make stuff. And I made several records in high school, most of which are terrible, but one of which, like, so The Next New Day, part 1 and 2.
Okay.
That, so I actually recorded those songs when I was 16.
You did?
Yeah.
Really? Those are
not the ones that you hear on the
Oh,
record.
okay,
I
those are really
re-recorded
fucking
them.
good
Yeah, I
songs.
re-recorded them for this record because they became relevant to my life again. I wrote it as a poem. Like, it was one of the first times it was like almost like automatic writing. Like, it came to me, and it was like, this is when I started to realize, like, you know, that I'm like not, that I wasn't like normal in terms of how normal was presented to me, you know?
Yeah.
And like, I went upstairs, and my dad's on the couch watching TV, and my mom's you know, cooking, and my sister's reading, and I find myself in my room like automatic writing some crazy shit like chicken scratch, and then it's like 4 pages, and I read it back, and it's the lyrics to that song, and there's 2 more parts that I'm gonna record eventually, but
Really?
so it keeps going, but and that's from that one day. It was like 20 minutes of just scribbling, and I didn't know what it meant when it came out, and it became relevant to my life later. It was like, it was telling the story of something that happened to me in my 20s, and it was like, and so
No
I
shit.
see it as almost like a resonance through like time, like moving like backwards,
I
like
see
the
what you're
reverse
saying.
causality or something.
Yeah.
It's like a really weird thing.
I know what you mean, yeah.
Because I didn't know what it meant, and it's always possible that it came from my unconscious. My unconscious knew what it needed to do in its 20s to individuate, in terms of like jumping into the like psychedelic ocean or whatever, and then losing touch with being a person, and then coming back. It's like,
Right.
and it was a kind of an awful experience, and the song is a warning against doing that. It's like, don't do that, but of course you do the
Do it
warning. You
anyways.
do the thing that the myth tells you not to do. That's
Right.
like the like first rule about myths, you know. They say don't open Pandora's box. Like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna open Pandora's box, of course. First thing you're gonna do is don't jump in the psychedelic ocean.
Don't
you know,
eat that
well, what the
apple.
fuck? I want to see the bottom. Like, I want to see the very bottom.
All I can think of when you were telling me that story is that movie Interstellar with Matthew McConaughey. Are you sure it wasn't your future self in a library bookshelf, just like
Yeah,
using
dude.
Morse code to not do whatever it was you were doing?
That's probably what it
Okay,
was.
yeah,
Yeah.
alright,
And I
so-
probably fucked it all up,
You're a
dude.
future astronaut. You don't even know it yet.
Yeah.
Or
I'll
time
probably
traveler or
I'll probably end up stuck behind the shelves, and yeah,
That's crazy. What did that feel like when you were writing it down? Like,
frenzied and confusing,
yeah.
and a little manic.
So crazy.
Yeah, a little like a.
And what are the songs that you wrote those lyrics into? What'd you say they were?
The Next New Day, part 1 and 2.
Next New Day, part 1 and 2. All right, yeah, I'll
Yeah.
check it out. And I know that backstory. That's pretty wild.
Yeah, it's kind of a fun little story.
I thought it like when I saw the title and I was listening to it, I was like, this sounds like somebody is trying to recreate the feeling of the day after, like a psychedelic trip or something.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what it felt like. 'Cause it's like, I don't know, like just this born again kind of feeling, but also very kind of uncomfortable and, I don't know, dissociating. You know what I mean?
Damn, dude. Yeah, you penetrated right to the heart of that song. That's pretty much where it's coming from.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, there you
That's
go, kids.
awesome, Anton. Yeah. Thanks, man.
Yeah, man.
Shit. Thanks for listening to it like that.
It's
cool.
It's an interesting time for me to have heard the song just in my personal life as well. So
Yeah.
I think that's why it kind of stuck out the way that it did. I was like, okay, this is kind of like hitting me in a certain way. So
Sick.
it's a really good song, man. Honestly, I mean,
Thanks,
but I
man.
mean, both of them. It's just like,
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
That's cool to hear. That's really cool to hear.
What caught my attention,
Wow.
or how we even met, was when I saw you at the Fin Festival when you were playing for the Blue Jay. And I know we were just talking outside, but for everybody else, whatever.
Yeah, totally.
Because
let's
it's so weird.
let's do it
So,
again.
like, I used to be like, yeah, so now you're on camera, so you can repeat things. It's so funny.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. We
Anyway.
can tell the story again.
But
If there's a
yeah,
story.
you were playing. God damn it, I can't remember it, but it's such a good title name. It's the one about magma or lava in your veins.
Oh, Molten Lead, Time for Bed.
Molten Lead, Time for Bed. You play that song, and I just thought it was the coolest phrase ever because it's in 10/4, right?
Yeah.
And then you were trying to do that on a pedal, a
Yeah.
looping pedal, and I was like, how is he pulling this off? This is ridiculous.
Yeah, I pulled it off that time. I did it in North Carolina a couple weeks ago and just totally fucked
Didn't
it up.
work.
Yeah, I totally fucked it. And I just stopped it. I was like, I'm just gonna do this regular right now.
But I
'cause-
did.
yeah.
I was like, that guy, holy fuck, that guy's good. Like, really, really good. And so
Thanks.
we met off and talked at the festival
Yeah.
for just a minute and everything like that. But then it was like, did a little more deep dive. And I'm like, holy, you got more and everything? I didn't know what to expect, but yeah.
Thanks, Billy.
So
Sweet.
so normally the progression of what I do with the show is that like I kind of will ask you about like, you know, your earlier stuff, and I'll kind of do like a timeline, but I do want to get to some of the like to try. I want to get to Trash Panda and all that stuff, but I'm really curious about what you're doing right now also, and I think that people would be it'd be wise to let people know early on in the episode. I'm curious as to what your creative process is like, and you know, are you doing everything yourself?
A lot of things, pretty much everything. And the thing about that is like, the reason I started doing everything myself is partly because I find it all intriguing and enjoy it all, but also partly out of necessity because I never had money growing up and never, like, my parents were supportive emotionally and with their like time and their eardrums, but like, but in terms of, you know, just the expenses of like getting recorded, and what I wanted was recordings. Like, I've always been obsessed. And so I got started out of necessity and have continued out of necessity because, like, you know, we tend to operate at whatever margins we have, right? And my margins are slim. Yeah, shout out Corey Kilgannon, that Slim Margins album coming out.
Is that his album coming out soon?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
It's a
We have to
good
get
one,
him on
too.
the show too, man.
Yeah, it's a really good one. I love that record. Anyway, but yeah, so my margins are slim, so I end up doing everything myself. But I do get help from friends and from mentors in my life. And so, like Aaron up at the Greenhouse in Atlanta, he's helped me out a lot on the Orphic Right. Like, he would sit down with me in the studio. He helped me. He mixed really, well, like I mixed, and then he summed and like sweetened Snakes. So Snakes like
It's a great
has
song.
Aaron's touch on it, and like it sounds fucking good. And he helped with that, and then so that became the like blueprint. That became the like test single of that album, and I just began to like what I learned from him for that I used on the rest of the record, and he so he's a really cool friend and mentor. And on the new stuff, like Landon just did some pedal steel on one of my tunes yesterday that
Okay.
I'm really stoked about. So Howdy, and because he's my next door neighbor as well. This is a whole thing with like, so
Yeah,
we all live
like
in
a
one.
musician complex.
Yeah, we do kind of.
That's
It's like,
nice.
it's a few of us. It's me and Kara, Corey, and Landon, and my roommate Nikki. And Nikki's a professional poker player, but obviously the rest of us are in the music business in some way or another. And so there's 3 apartments, 2 and 2, and then Kara's above me.
That's awesome.
It's awesome. It's so
Yeah,
much
man.
fun. That's how I ended up here. Yeah.
What a creative environment to just constantly be in. Yeah.
It's really cool to be able to bounce stuff off each other and to be able to go and hear what all of us are working on. And I recorded Howdy's last couple of songs, and there's a new one coming out like next week. So we recorded that in my apartment and his apartment. So we get to just work together all the time, which is awesome.
It's like insane to me when I listen to this. When I listen to the album, that it's mostly recorded at home. Yeah. So and the drums too, is that recorded?
No, the drums on the Orphic Rite were recorded at the Greenhouse and at my drummer Paul's house, depending on the songs.
Okay.
And so the Greenhouse Atlanta is a studio. It's in a house, but it's a legit studio. Aaron's got that place decked out. He's got amazing gear. So that album is a Slingerland kit with like 12 mics on it,
Oh, hell
like
yeah.
a really nice room with a bunch of rugs everywhere.
Gotcha.
And so those sounds on that record are, I mean, they're studio sounds.
I was gonna say because that's
Yeah.
always a dead giveaway to me on like a home produced
Yeah.
record or like a self produced
Well,
record.
if you listen to
the
Molten
drums.
Lead, the version I put out, I recorded those in my living room on my little like shitty Ludwig kit. My like, it's not shitty, but it's small. I got a little breakbeats kit, and so on that song I recorded it in the living room at my apartment, and they just don't sound as good. I don't think. I mean, I ended up getting a pretty good sound.
Yeah.
And they still sound like studio drums, but also I'm playing them, and I'm just gonna criticize them like crazy because I don't normally play my own drums. But sorry, I'm going.
No, not at all, man. It's so I would have to go back and listen to it just as a reference because I don't remember exactly what the drum sound was on that one.
Yeah,
But I mean, that is always a dead giveaway with drums. That's why it's so. And just everything that you're getting on the record, like the attention to detail on the production stuff. The first song, or not. It's more of just introduction, and like the dripping water sounds and like the soundscape that you created, like. I know what goes into like, getting that kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say with it. It's
Aesthetic.
like, yeah, that aesthetic, like just creating that kind of a vibe and like making it all sound so perfect, where nothing sounds like it cuts off too early. Nothing's dragging on too long, where it's like, kind of bleeding into something else. Like there's a lot of like attention to detail that.
He's trying to say you might have made the perfect record.
I doubt that, but it took 2 years.
It took 2 years, and but it's also crazy to me that it's you produced most of it, right? So you had some help from friends, but mostly you produced it.
Yeah, I mean, that album. By the time it was over, the album that you hear, I mixed and mastered.
And you mastered it too. Wow.
Yeah, Aaron, and I mastered. If you listen real close, about half the songs are mastered to quarter-inch tape and half are not, because I mastered them all to tape and then redigitized it, and then some of them I was like, this sounds great. Some of them I was like, nah, I don't like that. So it's like half of it's tape and half of it's not if you listen really close.
Okay.
Which is kind of funny, but you'll hear them when they come on. They come on,
I see.
and you're like, oh, that's tape.
I did notice some of that too. I thought that was just more of like a creative choice, to be honest with you.
It was in the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just part of the mastering process. I was like, these work and these don't. Some of them just got crushed to hell, or the tape machine was being moody and it was like giving me some.
So hang on, you
artifacts.
recorded this on tape? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Or just that's a stupid
I would
question.
master some of it to tape,
You mastered
but
it.
I recorded it digitally.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
I-
it's like if I recorded that album with that sound to tape, I'd have to really like.
No, I know.
I don't know how that would even be possible.
be-
Be an
very, very
expensive
hard.
record. Too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
everybody else and me listening, so what do you mean by you mastered it to tape? I don't understand what that means.
Really, just like bounce it onto a tape machine,
Wow. Okay.
and then just like rip it back off the tape machine.
why would you do
record
that?
it back in?
There's a sound that comes with tape. It's just like a warmer. It's like listening to vinyl versus like a CD or something.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never
yeah.
would have thought of doing something like that.
It just adds a little bit of that. Just adds a little saturation, a little natural compression, a little like some noise.
This is real tricky. What kind of tape? What do you like just like on
Just
a
like
cassette?
quarter-inch tape, like I've got like this '70s Akai tape machine.
Like a reel-to-reel sort of thing?
Yeah, reel to reel.
Oh, okay.
And
okay.
and it's one of the small ones, so it's like pretty lo-fi, really.
Yeah, that's so far back in time to do that. Is that what normal bands do? No.
No, not anymore. Really. I mean,
think
you
a lot of
can.
bands do it,
A lot of bands do it.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
It's
I
that-
just never thought that was a process that you could do.
It's-
So you mix it on and bounce it digitally, record it onto tape, and then take it back in digitally, and it's kind of like I don't know, like almost reverse filtering it or something.
Yeah,
It
kind of is just like filtering it.
I get why you do it now, to make it sound like it's not on a computer. But can you really tell the difference between those two mediums?
Yeah, you can tell.
I want to try this now. This is very interesting.
Because they have virtual tape, plugins, and people use them all the time, and I use them all the time, and I'll use them, and they tend to be pretty subtle. But then, but when I break out the real tape machine, it's 1/4-inch tape, so it's like small, so it's lo-fi, and it's like not subtle. I mean, it depends on how you hit it and what signal you're pushing onto the tape. But it'll add some weird shit. It'll show you what you've got as well. It'll what comes back off the tape shows you something about your mix too. So I often learn from it as well.
Hey everyone, just want to take a second to talk to you about one of our favorite music venues, Blue Jay Listening Room. Blue Jay is a space for true music lovers where every ticket is a backstage pass. Silence your cell phones, enjoy a nice glass of wine or craft beer, and be part of an intimate experience unlike anywhere else in Jacksonville. Hear national and local artists sing their original songs and share the stories behind them in a space carefully curated for the premier show-going experience. I personally have seen some of my favorite shows here, as well as having played with some of my heroes. Not only is Blue Jay a wonderfully unique experience, it has become a staple in the Florida music scene. Mention Bottom of the Bill on your next visit and receive 10% off your tab. Blue Jay is located at 2457 3rd Street South, Jacksonville Beach, and be sure to check out www.bluejayjacks.com for news, ticketing, and events.
Like, I mean, you can obviously tell from all your experimenting with sonically or whatever you want to say. Like that definitely is an artistic sonic choice to use. Yeah. It's just I never would have thought it'd be like, you know what? Let's filter this again through like a 40 at this point like 50-year-old medium, and then and then bring it back so everybody can hear it again. But if it works, it works. I had no idea that you could do that.
And it doesn't always work. That's why it's half the album. Not the whole
okay, right.
Yeah, it's like. But I put some like lyric videos on YouTube, and the ones that are on there, they've just got the tape machine playing the track back, and then they've got like lyrics put over it.
Is there like a word for that process? Mixed to tape? Is that what you said?
Like bouncing to tape or mastering tape, mastering to tape. It's like, or just, I don't know, recording it to tape. I don't know, just record it. Just record that digital signal and then redigitize it. I mean, it's completely insane, and you don't need to do it, but it's just something. I'm obsessed, man. I'm just obsessed.
I can tell. I'm like, we're both like, a little bit of audiophiles ourselves, and I'm just like, I want to fucking try that and see what happens.
Do it. Try it with cassette too. Cassette's fucking yummy, dude.
The only thing I got close to doing anything like this is I have a boombox, and I had a 1985 Dodge Dynasty, and it would only take tapes, and that's it. So I would burn CDs, and then it would record onto cassettes.
Yeah.
And then I would move it onto there, and I liked it just because, but I don't know why I liked it. I'm like, I got fucking a tape of like the 2000s best hits right now that
dude,
you can get on a tape.
That's hilarious.
That I did. I went back in time and did it for a friend. It's like, no one makes mixtapes anymore. I'm like, I know how to do it real quick, actually. I don't have to sit there and like record the whole time. You do have to put the CD on there and then record and then just walk away for a long time.
Oh yeah. It's all real time, so
I miss making tapes and stuff like that back in the day.
I always hated doing that shit.
Yeah. Also, I guess maybe for even younger viewers that never had all the options available for ringtones nowadays, but I used to do that. I guess maybe that's close because you're 31, you said.
Yeah,
we're 32, so like we're the same age, right? So, at some point in time you were in a car in your radio with your like phone ready to go, and then be like, oh, the song's on, and then you can record it. So that's your ringtone.
Yeah, definitely did that for sure.
We struggled back in the day, big time.
Try to get our fucking ringtone on cell phones.
Yeah,
it was a real struggle.
Oh man, yeah.
So is there like a message or something that you're trying to convey with the music on this album?
There's not a message I want to convey to other people per se. This album was so reflective for me, man. I put a lot of just like personal transformation and questioning into this album. It was honestly so personal that if I hadn't spent 2 years and a bunch of energy and I wasn't broke, I probably wouldn't have released it at all. But like I put so much energy into this album, like I better release it. But that's also why I've probably been sabotaging it the whole time. It's so personal. Like, it's a lot of transformation. So the metaphor, the idea of the cult of Sedna, it has something to do with like this period of my life where I was getting in touch with the dark feminine, I guess, in myself. Like, just like this angry, like vengeful, hurt goddess or whatever. This like the feminine part of the soul that had been trampled. And that's true for a lot of us. And so Sedna is an Inuit goddess whose story is very sad. She was basically just like treated like crap by her father, and by the man that her father gave her to. She ends up at the bottom of the sea. And the Inuit shaman's job is to go down to the bottom of the sea and brush her hair to comfort her, so, to calm the seas, and to bring a good catch of fish. So also in 2003 there was this planet Sedna, this little tiny planet that it's been super far away in the solar system. It's been coming in just close enough that they got a glimpse of it in 2003, and it's part of our solar system, but it's on this wild orbit, and it goes super far out, and it's a very elliptical orbit, and it's like off axis from the rest of the solar system. And so this little planet Sedna, the fact that it's moving closer during the 2000s, at the same time when everyone's like inflamed about the divine feminine and how it's been hurt, or how it needs to be reintegrated, and people have all their opinions about that, about ways of doing that and how it needs to manifest in society. But for me, it was just really personal, because I had been through a certain amount of like social confusion and betrayal in the few years before that it caused me to really like feel there was just a lot in me that was just broken, and I was just so lost. And that album was just this reflective process of like dealing with it all and trying to remember who I am. And so that album is really, really personal.
Yeah.
But I then I kind of like hid it in this like dime novel sci-fi thing, right? So it's like, so it feels like I did the intro and everything because I wanted it. I was like, well, this story's personal to me, but to everyone else, like, I hope it's entertaining. And I wanted to put it in this kind of like, because I like that kind of like shitty sci-fi aesthetic, like, and I just wanted to throw it in this like dime novel paperback setting, and it's like, oh look, there's like a cult of the goddess, and it's being like, there's a transmission from the planet like itself that's like identified psychically with the goddess, and there's this, and so I wanted that, but the concept of the album did not start at the beginning, it was at the end. And so the process of uncovering the album was entirely just dealing with my unconscious.
I see.
So the entire process of making the album, I was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm making or why I'm alive or like what I'm doing, but I'm fucking broke and unhappy.
Yeah.
And I have to do whatever I'm doing, and I don't know why. And that's how it felt for 2 years. That's how it felt. I have to do this, and I don't know why, and I don't know what it is that I'm doing. So many things happened. My childhood home was unoccupied for a while. I was living in Atlanta. It's just 2.5 hours west of Augusta, where I grew up. My childhood home in Augusta was unoccupied for a while. My mom had moved out of it. There was nothing in it. And I was going through a lot. This is the beginning of 2020, before the pandemic. It was the winter. And my grandmother was in the hospital. So I left Atlanta. I came home, set up my gear in my childhood home. It was abandoned. I just was pulling shit out of the woods and starting fires every night and doing weird rituals in there, and like, just like, like, I was recording in there. I'd go out and just like smoke mugwort on the porch every night, and like it was like just winter, and I was just and that's where I recorded like Satyabop and a couple of the songs on the album. But this was in my childhood home, so there's just so much going on that was just really personal at that time, and I was really unhappy, and I wasn't playing shows, and like the band had fallen apart, and like, and I was 29, and I was just like, I'm fucking lost. Yeah, that's how that album came together, to be honest.
Yeah,
that's where it came from, and it's just falling into that, like, being lost, and like, it was just like, I don't know how to say it, man, but it fell into a really deep place.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty amazing that you were able to kind of utilize that time for something productive, right? Because a lot of people go into like these self-destructive. There may have been some self-destructive behavior, I'm sure, but you were able to kind of create this thing out of that. And a lot of people go through traumatic situations and they're not productive at all. You know, they let it completely consume their lives, and nothing comes of the consumption.
Yeah.
But it sounds like, I mean, not just sounds like, you did create this amazing product, and it's I mean, it's really, the whole thing from beginning to end is just an experience for sure.
Thanks, man.
So whatever you were going through, I think it's definitely, there's definitely like something there that's conveyed through it. Like you can feel it when you're listening to it, you know?
That's really cool to hear, man.
Yeah.
That's really cool to hear. Yeah. Wow.
There's another aspect of it, and I wanted to ask you about Trash Panda as well, because the streaming numbers are all like really good on all these things. I'm curious as to what you've done to be able to do that, because as we know, it's not just being good at what you do that gets you those numbers, right?
Well, I don't know what it is, because we're bigger now than we were when we were together.
Really?
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, it's been 3 years since we broke up, and we just hit our highest monthly listeners of all time yesterday.
It's like 14,000 or something?
No, we have 200,000 monthly
200,000. No, you have 14,000 on your. Okay, right.
Yeah, something like that.
Jesus fucking Christ.
But we just hit, and so yesterday, I'm really thankful for it. It's amazing. It is confusing, and I don't know.
Yeah, because you haven't been in the band for 3 years, or it's dissolved, and so
we haven't been doing anything.
That for 3 years.
No.
So
all right. So before we do,
God damn it!
so
trying to break all the fucking, figure out how to do it.
Dude,
like,
we're always trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
I can't figure it out. That's another thing that's like plaguing me. It's like, how do I the chances of me making this project as big as that one are like,
who knows? Just
infinitesimally small,
just
dude. It's just not likely. It's just like, it was weird fucking luck, man. Like, we got like, we went viral. I was just like a baby. Internally, I was a baby. I was 26 or whatever, but I didn't know. We were just making records in our basement, and then and then we went viral, and it was like, okay, what do we do now? Like, we're not ready for that. We don't have anything. We barely have gear. Like, we had I was using I made that whole first EP with like a little interface, my little like shitty garage built together Squier Jazzmaster, 1 amp, a couple of pedals, and my buddy's like thrown together drum kit in our little house that we rented in north of Atlanta. And then it went viral, and we were just like, what do we do now? So we found my other friend from college, from before. He was living in Atlanta again, and so I asked him to play bass for us, and we started playing a few shows here and there, but we were never that big. And I acquired a shit ton of debt while we were together, and it was just, my 20s were hard, man. Like, they were just terrible. like good things were happening, but like my actual personal affairs were never together.
Right.
And like life was just like really insecure, and my relationships were rocky, and I didn't understand anything that was going on around me. I was just confused for the entire decade, and that includes the time that Trash Panda was together. And so no, I'm still really confused about all that. I don't know why that music is still, because we know we haven't done anything to promote it since then, but we were working neurotically hard at the time to make it big, and then became so miserable that it's like, let's leave it all behind. And now 3 years later, it's bigger than it ever was then. And it's mostly just because of Atlanta Girls, which is a catchy song, and it's also the bane of my existence, and it pays my rent, and it's an awesome quagmire of a strange fucking thing that happened.
Almost 8 million streams on that one. Yeah. It's fucking wild.
Yeah, congrats.
Spotify's weird, man.
I did see, well,
sense.
in your bio, and then also on Instagram and stuff about that song and about that. I don't know if it was that song. Was it Atlanta Girls that was on the Spotify Top 50? So you didn't.
Oh no, it was Giuseppe.
Giuseppe. That
was the first song that was like, and that made no sense either.
Yeah.
I think it was because we mentioned Trump in the song before the election in 2016.
Do you think
it was
that's
just
really
timely?
why?
I think that's partially why. I think it was catchy. I mean, it's not until the last verse that we mentioned him, and it wasn't even a very scathing mention. Like, it wasn't a very like.
What'd you say about Donnie?
Dude, not much at all. It was just basically implied that he does cocaine.
Yeah.
And
That's for sure true, though, right?
I mean that's a given. But so that wasn't controversial, and also just like implied that he's not trustworthy, which is also not controversial.
Yeah.
So I don't know why that song went viral either. I literally have no idea. Everything about that was confusing.
For people listening, it was like right underneath the
Weekend.
Yeah, for a little bit.
Played the fucking halftime in the Super Bowl. Like,
Yeah.
pretty big deal. So you didn't even submit it or anything like that?
That didn't exist back then.
I didn't think so.
Yeah, they
because
couldn't.
It was in 2015.
2016.
I read
And the
it.
one that went viral wasn't even on. Like we didn't release it as a single. We released it. Our friends released it for us under their compilation.
Okay.
A couple of friends, the Pussy Willows and Indie Killed the Pop Star, and I produced their music as well in Atlanta. And so they were like, hey, let's release y'all's song Giuseppe, because we hadn't released anything yet. And we're like, let's release 3 of our songs as a compilation. And then it just happened that Giuseppe hit for no reason that I can tell.
Oh my God.
And so it literally, that like changed my life forever. And
Yeah,
I still don't understand it.
Just rub you for good
The
luck.
internet's
You really don't have
fucking
any
weird.
idea.
I have no clue, dude. And I drive a Hyundai that's breaking down, and
Yeah.
like my life is like not together, dude. Like my life is not together. Like my life in Atlanta fell apart last year, and I went in the desert for 2 months, and I landed at the beach, man. Like
Yeah.
my life has been like not in my own hands, man. I've been floating, dude. So I can't take credit for any of it. I don't know how any of it happened.
That's amazing.
Okay.
That's fucking
Hey,
wild,
yeah,
man.
but yeah, I mean, at least it did happen. But then your other song off of, oh my God, I just forgot, Sedna. So the coldest Sedna is Snakes, and that's almost got 1 million plays right now.
Yeah,
So what about that one,
yeah.
though?
And that's almost been. See, I released that the same year that our band broke up.
Yeah.
So that's been almost 3 years. So
Okay.
it's taken a while to gather plays, and none of the other songs have caught up to like getting a lot. So I'm actually I have found amazing like happiness within myself, because for 3 years nothing I've done has worked. And now I have found all this great fucking solid ass joy within myself, because nothing for 3 years, everything worked for no reason for 2 years, but my life was miserable. Now nothing's working, and I'm very happy.
Yeah.
So I have no lessons I have no understanding of this life.
There's definitely some sort of lesson to be learned in there.
Yeah, I mean that is the lesson.
It's
Is
just
like
Yeah.
don't. I mean, like Julius Caesar. Don't be ambitious. Like that's
yeah,
the end of it.
exactly, dude.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Marcus
just leave-
Aurelius.
Yeah,
man.
there you
Just
go.
control what you can control.
Well,
Yeah.
there's an interesting aspect about that. Although we were halfway joking, I wouldn't say that the lack of ambition is what would make you happier, but there's definitely an aspect of submitting to a scenario and just kind of allowing it to do what it's gonna do.
Yeah.
And then it's the same thing
Yeah.
when you go through like a psychedelic experience. It's when you experience like those ego deaths.
Yeah.
There's this natural resistance. It's your ego literally trying to keep itself together, and it's saying, hey, fuck you, this is a poison, and I'm not gonna let it take me over. And that's when things get real bad, right? Like all of a sudden those you get panicky, you start to forget like your thoughts, and that all this crazy shit that can go wrong. But then as soon as you just like realize that you cannot control the thing anymore, and you just submit to it, that's when it becomes the greatest experience of your life. And I mean that, kids. Do LSD once.
Yeah.
We're looking for sponsors, by the way.
Yeah,
No, I'm just joking. Don't do LSD.
What else-
If
But
it calls you, yeah.
What do you always say about luck?
it's preparation and opportunity meet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's true too.
And it wasn't like what you put out was garbage, and then you just got lucky.
No.
That stuff
It was
is-
years and years of failure before that too.
Sure.
So yeah, it's like
But
building on
the
it.
stuff that got picked up and
Yeah.
at viral, as you say, was
good.
It's very good.
That's the thing. It's like that.
Thanks,
I was
There's
listening on the ride home from Best Buy today. Actually, I was
Sick,
like,
dude.
It's fucking great.
yeah.
Sick. Awesome.
Windows down, everything, no AC. It's the only way I can listen to music, but
Yeah. Right.
it's good.
So let's Trash Panda. Where does that name come from?
Are you kidding me?
That came well. So all right. So we lived.
Yeah, bro. I know.
We lived in Roswell, like kind of in the woods north of Atlanta at the time, and on our porch, we were just we'd sit around, watch TV, and smoke dabs, and like just fuck around. Like I was teaching music at the time, and I had been through a series of failed relationships, and so like I was just in a period of my life where I was like, fuck it, man. Like I was like, I used to want to like be something, and then so Trash Panda started with no ambition, which is cool. So it started as it should, with no ambition. So it started just like, yeah. Point is, sitting watching TV, smoking dabs, like a bunch of shitheads. Raccoons would just like come up to the windows and watch like TV with us, and they just hang out, and they got in the drywall of the house, and they were like scurrying around in the house, and like it was this wooden house in north of Atlanta, and you know, I don't know. So the raccoon, and I also felt kind of spiritually like connected to the raccoon, because the raccoon is literally just digging through the trash trying to make it by. And that's kind of how I felt with my life. I was like, okay, I'm like digging through the trash, making it by with my life, because like everything, you know, like these relationships I've, you know, tried to create and maintain didn't work out for me for various reasons. And so the trajectory that I kept seeing my life going just kept getting obliterated over and over again, which is natural, and we all go through that. And so at that point I felt like, you know, well, cool. I'm digging through the trash, and I'm gonna try to make songs out of it. I also had a seizure that year. I had brain surgery back in like 2010.
Oh, no shit.
I had like a brain infection. I pretty much died. I was unconscious for 3 days, and
Wow.
at the end of that, yeah, I had emergency brain surgery. So I woke up in the hospital, like, and anyway, several years later, I had a couple of seizures. So the doctors put me on the seizure medication, which made me dissociate, and so I became incredibly just life was really dark, and and so that was another thing that was on my mind. So when I wrote the song Off, which is actually the first song we recorded, and we recorded that before coming up with the name Trash Panda or anything, but that song is really what birthed the name Trash Panda, because I was like thinking about, you know, what is that song about? The lyrics to that song are crazy, and you know, chalk it up, baby, to a tacit haze, run me through a grocery of childish phases, cover up my mouth with greasy hands, chew and swallow pills are straight from Satan's cabinet, swear to God I've spent a lifetime building habits, swallow down the hard stuff before it's chewed. And that's obviously about emotions, you know, you swallow down the hard stuff, and just like, because you got to keep going with your life before it's chewed. So I was just, all this grief was building in me, and so I was just, you know, and it's taken me years to come up to realize that, but all this grief was building in me, and so these songs were coming out of straight, just, you know, pain. So it was the trash can of my life I was digging out to get these songs, you know. And so Trash Panda, literally all the songs on both albums are from the trash can of my life. Like, they're not how I see myself at my best. They're like from the places, like they're from the things that hurt the most, you know.
Right.
And that's where that name comes from.
Gotcha. That's really clever, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. And you said that in the bio, you said that it was started off as like a home kind of studio project. Like, you weren't trying. Did you have a band together for it initially, or it was just gonna be like an artist name kind of thing?
So on the first EP, it was those were just my songs, and I asked my roommate to play drums on them, and that was how Trash Panda was born. And then we got my buddy to play bass later, so he's playing bass on the second album. And on Heartbreak Pearl Star, we switched. So on that song, he's playing guitar, I play bass. But on the first album, I played all the bass on that album.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, just me and Mitch for that first EP.
Wow.
That was 2015 when we made that. So that's been a while now, 6 years ago.
What was? Why did you decide to make it like a band and like a gigging thing?
It just appealed to my heart. I didn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
That's really it.
Okay.
I don't know. I just didn't want to be alone. I mean, I'm getting really honest with you
Yeah,
guys,
no.
but that's kind of why I just didn't want to be alone doing it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely an aspect of creating that I think is more satisfying when you're doing it with other people.
Yeah.
You know, especially it can be, yeah, it can be like it can be a vulnerable thing. You know.
Absolutely.
So there's an aspect of that, especially whatever you were going through at the time. I'm sure there was that was like a necessity. How did that change the dynamic of the project, or creatively? Did it take it in a different direction when you started adding different people?
Creatively, it was really fun, man. It was really fun. I really enjoyed, because it's just a trio. So the three of us, we had a lot of fun making the music. The most fun part was making the music. And then once we started treating it like a business, it went sour quick, as it usually does. Because it's just not what it's about, man. It never is about that. And but man, the three of us together making music was really fun. I miss it.
Yeah.
I miss it.
Were you guys touring at all?
Not really.
No.
We did a little bit. I've never been much into touring. And playing live I like doing, but it drains me a lot. So I haven't. I don't do as much of it as I probably should. I do enjoy it. I love the hour where you're on stage.
Yeah.
Every fucking other thing can go.
Yeah. Oh,
every fucking other
man.
thing. I love that hour when you're on the stage, though. That's really nice and really fun, and I love connecting with an audience, and I love creating music, and I love making sound. But every other goddamn thing can just go.
Yeah.
It can go. It can be a lot of fun too. I tell you what.
It can. I need to learn from you, man. You need to teach me, Billy.
You gotta learn how to play poker.
Yes.
Sure.
Well, my roommate's a professional poker player, so
There you go.
I'm in good
play
hands.
Poker with not good people. Otherwise, that is not fun.
No, yeah.
And then I would learn how to sleep next to another man in bed.
Yeah.
Without moving.
Okay, so you're talking about touring. I'm cool with touring.
Oh yeah.
I'm cool with touring. Yeah, when I say the other stuff, I just mean
Oh, all the things before you go on tour and all the promotions. And
yeah, there's
selling yourself
that
social
kind
media.
of stuff.
All the
That kind of
show
stuff.
bullshit.
The business stuff is what I don't like. I like the actual being on tour. That's fun too. And I've done a little bit of that.
No, that's very
Yeah.
interesting to me that you say that, because one of the questions I had for you was about your social media presence on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
You treat every single one of your posts like it's a freaking song or like an album or something like that. They're all extremely creative.
Thanks.
And it just seems like that in itself, you're creating something too. It's not just
Thanks,
hey, here's
thanks.
a pic of me at the beach or whatever. It's like you reading poetry or
Thanks.
everything that you do.
Thanks.
There was a couple ones that I saw on Instagram where it was you playing music, but it was just it looked like it was glitter in syrup or something like that.
Okay, I'd love to talk about that.
I would too, because I was just what is that? You just made it's it's not like an effect or anything. You were just filming something. I have no idea what it was, but it was cool as shit.
Okay, I'm really glad you asked about that. Actually, I've never gotten the chance to talk about that with anyone, but a couple of friends here and there.
Yeah.
That was cool. That's Abraxas, and that's a music video, and I filmed it during quarantine with my my former partner. We were living in Atlanta last year, and she helped me out with this project. I spent a long time putting layers of video together.
Yeah.
And I wanted to project it on bathtub bubbles. So it's bubbles in a bathtub.
Okay. All right.
And it's a projector, and which one of us was holding which? I can't remember. She might have been holding. I think she was holding the projector. It was a handheld. She was holding the projector over the bathtub, and I'm holding the camera. And I had created a with hundreds of layers of video, just composited video. This I say hundreds of layers. It probably wasn't hundreds. It was probably dozens of layers of video matched to the song, and I'd made a little stop motion of the skull, which is a skull that I've got this little model skull, and I painted on it, and I just thought it'd be cool to so I took a little stop motion thing of it and matched it up with the words and put that in the video, and then so it's all one big composited video that is then projected onto bathtub bubbles. And that's what it is.
That's super cool.
And the idea, so Abraxas is the Gnostic god of everything, basically, the entire universe. Oh, is it?
Start to finish, is one of the best songs of all time.
God
It's
damn.
not.
That's
Actually,
what Oye
it's-
Como Va is. And don't listen to his
Oh
opinion.
yeah.
But
wait,
yeah.
what's what?
It's
Oye
called
Como Va?
Abraxas. Oye Como Va is on it. Black Magic Woman.
Iron Butterfly?
Which one?
Oh no, I was thinking of the
Excuse me?
Iron Butterfly one.
No, not Iron Butterfly.
No.
No, Santana.
Oh, Santana. Okay, yeah. Oh, Iron Butterfly. Oh, what did Iron Butterfly do?
Copy Led Zeppelin to the T?
I don't even know who they are. So
Okay, fair enough. No, yeah. All right. So it's Santana. It's Santana.
No, let's go back to the bubbles.
Okay, so yeah, so Abraxas is like the Gnostic god of like the universe, like the way I think of it, and like Carl Jung had a bunch of shit to say about it as well. I'm not qualified to actually talk about Abraxas, but in my interactions with and my weird like psychedelic moments of like, you know, quasi apotheosis or whatever you experience when you're like, I'm everything, you know,
Yeah.
that, you know, that experience, you know, that I equate that with like Abraxas. And it's like, so you're everything. You're the dark and the light. You're the violent and the peaceful, you know, you're all that shit. And that's what that song's about. But also, when you think about like, you know, the bathtub bubbles I thought were fun because you think about these like bubble universes and like just exploding. And then so projecting like basically into bubbles creates almost like a hologram because it takes on like new dimension. It takes like 3 dimensions. And so I thought it was kind of a magical act to project these layers of video into actual physical bubbles because like there's this analog thing going on. Like when you bring like physical material into like marry a digital medium and a physical material together, that's magic in some way because it's like pure information, like pure mind with like matter as well.
Right.
And you're like marrying them together. So it's projecting light into the tub to me was like magic, you know? And so I was all manic about it. I was like, let's do this! Like,
yeah.
and so we did it and it looks awesome.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. I mean, I think it's cool.
I do
That's all I
too.
care about, really.
Yeah, I was looking at all this stuff, but it's just like, yeah, it seems like, are you an artist by any means? Like, do you draw or do anything besides that?
I'm a terrible, like, visual artist.
Well,
terrible.
You're not, though, because everything that you're doing on social media, it looks like it, and I'm not trying to be weird, but it looks like a piece of art. Like,
Thanks.
And it looks like some sort of thing that could be an amazing thing to promote for content if you were gonna go on tour. But it sounds like you're just doing it just to create,
Pretty much.
which is amazing. And going back before too, where you're saying that you didn't promote, you didn't like ask to be on Spotify, the top 50 or anything. You're just creating like crazy, and I think that's incredible that you just are a great example of, hey, just keep doing what you love. It's corny as that sounds, and then
The way
people
it
are gonna
feels,
notice.
the way it feels internally, and I don't want to twist this the wrong way and make it sound like, all right, let that go. I'm just going to let whatever I was just thinking go. The way it feels like internally, though, is I feel like I'm surrendered to the process. I feel like I'm surrendered to creating shit no matter what that means because I have to. And it's because of the like near-death experience. It's because of like, you know, stuff in me that is also the things that limit me from doing the things that would make me more like successful in the world. Those are the very things that make me also driven to create the things I'm creating. And so it's like there's a constant tension that I feel day to day, this like sense of like, well, I will probably never be as like involved like professionally or on the business end or on the like PR end with my music as I would like to be. I'll probably never be as involved with it as I want to be because I'm literally like chained up to the creative process. Like I'm like married to it, and I'm like not necessarily connected that way to what I'm making, but just like every day if I'm not making shit, I feel terrible. That's just like that's just brutally honest. Like
Yeah.
I have to.
That's
I have
real.
to.
That's real though, man. Because I get moments where I'm like that, where there's like this thing where it's like I know that all this stuff needs, like I know that this stuff needs to happen over here, like on the business side of it. But then there's some days where I'm just like, I don't want to do that though, and I need to be like creating something like this. That's what needs to be happening, whether it's writing a song or whether it's actually just practicing and like trying to like focus on my craft, you know.
Yeah.
It's always like there's definitely that struggle. And then there's some days, you know, I have like a lot of ups and downs with it too, where it's sometimes where I don't even want to be creative at all, and I just want to focus on like the other shit, you know. There's like, this back and forth with the whole thing, you know.
There are those days, dude, where you're like, I want to go do the thing.
Yeah,
not
exactly.
Just not just make the thing, but also do the thing.
Right, because there's an aspect of it where it's like, yeah, you love to create, and that's like what the whole thing is about. But then it's like, if you want to only create, and like not have to go work for somebody else, you have to do all this other things. That's like not creating, which ends up just being working a job that you don't want to work anyways, right?
Exactly.
But it's like,
tell me about it.
yeah,
dude, yeah.
But you make a lot less money.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
Your bank account looks like mine. So, just saying.
Yeah, mine don't look too good, man. Mine don't
A
look
lot
too
of fucking
good.
dents, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, mine's pretty rough, dude. It stays bottomed out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, it's part of the process, and hopefully one day it pays off for everybody, you know.
So yours kind of looks like a minor league batting average, or
minor league batting average.
Yeah.
It's kind of another band name.
Give me the bourbon.
Oh, that's a good band name. Minor league batting average. I like
it's a long one, but pretty good one.
Thanks, bud. Do you want any more?
I'll take a little bit more.
All right.
Yeah, I'm feeling crazy.
You feeling crazy tonight?
Feeling crazy.
That's what happens on bottom of the
I don't normally
crazy.
get the chance to just like ramble gratuitously.
That's what this whole thing's about, bro.
Thanks, guys.
All right, that's
Absolutely.
definitely more than a little bit.
Yeah, I hope I won't finish that
That's
because
right,
then
you
I'm gonna have to stay here for a while.
You can just pour it into mine.
Not that I don't want to stay here, but I don't want to infringe on you either.
No, that's all right.
But as long as you want, bro. That's what this whole thing's about.
Yeah, this
Thank
is
you.
his house,
Thanks,
so you can
man.
say however long you like.
Thank you for your hospitality, boys. Thank you.
Absolutely.
No problem.
Appreciate y'all.
So yeah, going back to the social media thing, I followed you, and then it's weird how I'm not really sure how Instagram works. I don't know if you've ever noticed this about Instagram, where like you follow somebody and their story comes up, and then it always becomes like the first thing when you're going through all the people's stories.
I don't know how any of that works.
Right, I don't either. But the first one that I see, I'm just like, I don't even know this person, but I because I watched it again, it's gonna be at the first of it, and I have this like just random people that I'm like, I'm sorry, it must make you think that I'm stalking you, but I'm not. I'm just like, oh, so I didn't want to see you, but as soon as you like scroll past it immediately, like it shows that you've seen it. But yours is not one like that, and it's not that I don't enjoy it, but I see it every morning. You do poetry every morning.
Yeah, a lot of mornings. Yeah, almost every morning.
As long as I've been following you, I'm like, oh, that's another one. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh, listen,
almost
this
every
is
day.
Nice. You must be an early riser then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lately, yeah. Well, yeah. I go through seasons, man. I go
But
through seasons.
I really enjoy that. I work a day job, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And 8:30 in the morning, I gotta get up and everything like that. I'm like,
Yeah.
getting my caffeine for the day, and then I'm just like, yeah, I'll just go through Instagram, and like, yours the first one every single morning because you just got finished.
Because I just got up, yeah.
a little bit of meditation, I guess, but I enjoy it.
Cool, man.
That's cool. You're able to get up every day and like just write something.
Yeah, well, I'm not reading my poems. I'm reading.
sorry.
I've been reading Rumi a lot
Oh, okay.
and Hafez, just like those old Persian poems, because I just think they're so. Like the ones translated by Coleman Barks and Daniel Ladinsky, they're just so like. They're great for that medium. They're great for Instagram because they're like short and they like hit you right in the heart really quick, and they tend to be like humbling and grandiose at the same time, so they make you feel like, you know, oh, I'm small and everything's big and the world is beautiful and my heart is enormous and like anything's possible. That's how those poems make me feel, and I'm like, I want to share that, so I just share those. That's what I want.
That's awesome.
I like those poems.
Just the fact that you get up and you do it every day, though. Like you read it and then like you put it on your platforms, and it's just, you know, you're just it's all kind of like maintaining the creative mindset. You know what I mean?
It's very motivating to me too, because I'm just like, oh man, he's doing it again. Like, what are you doing right now? I'm like processing home insurance claims. God damn it! Remember
Yeah.
when you were a musician this weekend? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I saw today, because I knew I was gonna have you on today, and then it was my first day back from our 3-day tour that we were on. I'm just like,
That was a fun one, too.
I don't wanna.
I wasn't on a 3-day tour this weekend, so I didn't need to sleep as much as you did.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But-
Like, that's where like.
And boy, man, I think I might have gotten about 10 hours this whole weekend. That was a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
dude.
Yeah.
Yesterday, I went to bed at 9 p.m. and woke up at 9 a.m., so I feel real good today.
Yeah. I didn't go to bed till like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning. 'Cause I had a gig.
But yeah, that's what I see. I see everybody else doing music and creating, and me, I'm staring at a computer screen and calling people for USAA.
That's how everything feels, though, dude. I feel that shit every day too.
You do?
Every day. I'm
No,
like,
that's what you're doing is creating all the
dude,
time.
no, you know what I do? I wake up, I go watch the sunrise with a cup of tea or maybe coffee, and I record one of those poems to make myself feel good, and then I fucking like,
There we go.
and yeah, and then I like fucking sit around and I'm like, what do I do now?
Yeah. Bro.
I'm like, all right, what do I do now? And I'm like,
That's real.
okay. I'm like, I got a list of things I could do now, but I don't want to do that or
Yep.
that or that or that. So maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll read this book I've read 3 times before. Maybe I'll take a bike ride. Maybe I'll come back, I'll get, I teach music, so I have like get ready for my students or whatever, but like, yeah, after that, it's a big ass question mark, man. And like sometimes it's like, this morning I woke up and I mixed and mastered a song. That felt great. I made 2 collages. I was like, yeah, that felt great. Like I wrote down like 3 poems. That was a good day today. But yesterday I didn't do shit. I took a nap.
Yeah.
That's okay. I mean,
Yeah, but I'm not happy about taking a nap. I'm fucking sad about it. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? Everybody else is doing shit and I'm taking a nap.
I guess I'm being,
It feels like that to everybody,
okay,
man.
Well, maybe I'm being idealistic, and that's how Instagram, social media does.
That's what
Kind of
it
like
does. It's
Exactly.
poison, dude.
mud in your mind about like
It's poison.
wow, they're all doing this. Their life must be amazing.
Yeah.
It's incredible all the time. And I'm like seeing you just like reading poetry on the beach and I'm sitting at my fucking office moving my mouth going, God damn it. Well, that's good to hear that you're as
Yeah.
miserable as me sometimes.
Yeah, dude. No, Instagram makes me miserable too. If you want to know,
Yeah.
it makes me really unhappy. Yeah, I hate that platform. I hate all the platforms. I think they're garbage, and I often delete them for months at a time, and then realize that I'm like way behind then interacting with the world. I'm like, fuck, now I have a product I need to get in front of people, and now they're not gonna see it because my algorithm's fucked.
Yeah.
And it's just such a shitty rat race, and we've let them like really take advantage of us and just take us down such a dark road. And we really need a blockchain we need some like blockchain social media that's like somehow like, I mean, Reddit's a good start. That's a good thing.
They're trying to
There's
do that
some other good
with
things.
Parler, weren't they?
Parler?
Yeah.
Decentralized
Donald Trump
Facebook kind of thing.
Yeah, dude.
But
Yeah.
they just got taken over by a bunch of fucking like alt-right.
Yeah, I mean,
douchebags.
everybody who's got the most derided voices are the ones who are going to flock to the most free platform first. But the fucking problem is, like, we do need a free platform.
Right.
And we have to, like, not get distracted by the assholes who are going to take the free platform and use it. Like, we do need free speech, dude. Like,
Totally.
maybe that's my unpopular opinion, is that we do need free speech.
Yeah, isn't
man.
it wild how that is becoming the unpopular opinion these
Dude,
days?
that scares me.
Because
It
a lot of
does.
the people that run to this, not to get all political and shit,
Let's
but
get
like
political and shit.
everyone that's running the decentralized platforms are the ones that have those values, and the ones that are staying on the platforms, giving them all that power, which ends up being the majority of people, are the ones that want that regulated kind of speech. You know what I mean?
The kind of infantilized like intellectual atmosphere
Exactly.
that's not conducive to an honest society that understands itself. It's like conducive to like a neurotic and delusional society that's like ideologically confused.
Exactly.
And like, yeah, that is definitely my unpopular opinion, I would say, and I have several others besides, probably, but I think, yeah, but I do think human beings should love one another and respect one another's choices, no matter what they are.
Of course.
But man,
It's always gonna happen though, right? So sometimes there needs to be like a place where
yeah,
that kind of discourse needs to be able to happen,
Yeah.
and it needs to be able to happen honestly.
yeah,
And I don't know. I think there's something to be said about, there's like,
yeah,
there's this guy I was listening to this podcast, Sam Harris, who's gotten a bad rap from a lot of people, but he's one of the most intellectual people, I would say,
Yeah.
right now in that space.
yeah,
And he was talking about the difference between having a conversation in a philosophical space versus, in the real world. And there's like this space where you're having a conversation where we're just hypothesizing things, right? So like we can take scenarios to the extreme and we can talk about like just insane things knowing that this is not how you actually feel about something.
Yeah.
We're just proposing that this thing could actually happen and how we live with that possibility, right?
Yeah.
And then the problem is that most people don't think that they don't make that differentiation, right? It is that you're saying this thing, which means that this must be how you feel. And that's just not the case most of the time.
Yeah,
you know?
there is something to be said for viewing things in a lot of different angles. But at the same time, I agree with you. And all that said, what comes to my mind is like safe spaces, very important. Safe spaces are very important. And so are free spaces. Those are very important too. And it's like really important to have that space where you could say the wrong thing because you're trying your best and you want to understand. And, you know, there's a place to say the wrong thing. And there's a place as well where there are certain parameters and, you know, to understanding that, like, this is a safe space for people. Those things are fucking important, man. Like, all those things are important. And, you know, the most important thing is that we all do our best to understand each other. And, like, man, yeah, I wish we could all do. I mean, I don't know. I don't subscribe to any arc of history at all. I don't think we're capable of understanding that. So I think, you know, my temptation is to try to generalize and say things are getting better, things are getting worse. But like, I don't think any of that's true because I don't think that we really have the capacity to understand the arc of time and its many eddies and flows and spirals, and the way that time is experienced by every individual person is so profoundly unique and fractal. And so the way each of us experiences our own growth and our collective growth as a species, that's like, and as just a collective like society as well, like the way we're evolving and growing and changing is so intricate and beautiful that it just cannot be summed up in all these like ideological like bullet points that you are going to find on your, you know, in these formats that we choose to bow down to,
like memes.
Yeah,
I love a good meme, but I can tell you right now that I don't take any of that shit seriously.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think that, and back to your point about not being able to fully understand like you know the growth of the species and just history as a whole, we, beyond just the unique experience of every individual and how we perceive the whole thing, we actually just don't even know the actual information, right? Because the saying is that history is written by the winners.
Yeah.
Right? So in the burning of the Library of Alexandria, like we lost like something like 90% or more than that of all documentation of history of what happened in the world before that point in time. Everything else is just hearsay. This is playing a massive game of telephone, right? With people that don't speak the same languages, with people that have completely different interpretations of what actually happened. And by the time it's been disseminated, even to the next generation, it's completely just not what even happened, right? And then now we're talking hundreds, thousands of years in the future, and somehow we know we just like we got it figured out in this generation. You know what I mean?
And yeah, that's my real unpopular opinion, dude. I'm right with you. I don't believe in the myth of progress. I don't.
Well, it's impossible.
Just kind of just swirling stuff around in a cup of coffee. You're like,
yeah,
maybe
dude.
This'll taste better.
And I'm all for like fucking human rights, baby. I love it.
Yeah, of course.
But in the grand arc of history, I don't think our civilization is destined for the stars. Like, I think we're gonna fucking burn, dude.
Oh yeah,
I really do.
I'm a nihilist through and through. Without a doubt. But like,
I'm not a nihilist.
You're not?
But no, I'm not a nihilist
I'm kind of
at
growing
all.
out of it too a little bit.
At all.
Because I'm like, well, some things matter.
Yeah, I think everything matters infinitely.
Oh, okay.
And I actually just, sorry.
Teach their own.
You guys are getting me kind of drunk now, which I don't normally drink at all. So
well,
I'm starting to get. This is why you do this, yeah.
This
is why you drink bourbon.
I drink every single day.
Loosen the tongue. Yeah. Loosen the tongue. I'm really letting a a lot right now.
No, this is good, bro. This makes for good content right here. Yeah.
Cool.
Speaking of social media, and the evil fucking engine that it is.
Oh man, I'm gonna talk about how I feel online.
This is a good way to sell records, by the way. It's not politics.
I only tell other people's poetry and only tell the sweet feelings online. I don't tell it in real.
But it is humorous to me, like how I was naive about that, and then I guess just more naive about everything that people post and everything. Like, everything is just great. Everything is really, really, really good, and everybody's doing much better than you are, and this is all that they're showing you is how much better their lives are than you.
They're only showing you the
That
good
gets
moments.
to you after a while, man.
Yeah, that's the whole thing with it, right?
Yeah.
That's what people been talking about for a long time. Is that little?
Why do they do it?
Why?
Why do people do that?
Oh, it makes them feel better about themselves.
I guess it does.
There's like those little moments where it's like, I'm gonna put this thing out, and it's gonna make me feel better that people are looking at my life like it's amazing.
I just see pictures of people posing next to their Lamborghini saying, "I'm a self-made entrepreneur. What are you doing with your life?" I'm 23. I'm like, I'm processing claims for USAA.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now. I'm probably gonna get Firehouse later.
Well, you're
Fat fuck.
Yeah.
With no money.
Well, so there's something.
This is self-made.
Dude, you're living great, man. You're living great.
There's something you said about the pursuit
It's
of
a good
something
life,
too,
man.
you
It's a good. It's your life, man. It's a good
I
life.
know, but still.
But I know I feel the same fucking way.
I just
dude.
want to be Instagram like good. I want to be Instagram good.
You know, Instagram good. Yeah. Hashtag.
That's that real. That's
Dude.
that real IG right there.
Don't we
Hashtag
all,
Instagram good. I like it.
I'm gonna start posting my poops on Instagram.
No.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yeah.
No,
That'd be good for the
See,
brand.
he's like, that's too
I
far.
want the good stuff.
That's too far. You want the good stuff. That's the trick. That's the weirdest part is that we do want to see the best of each other.
Yeah.
We want to see the best of ourselves, but we feel bad when we see the best of others and not the best of ourselves. Because it's very hard to keep your eyes on the best of yourself when you're also dealing with all the shit of your life.
That's
all
true.
the bullshit of your life.
And,
exactly.
And when you're constantly seeing a feed of everyone's best life, right?
Yeah.
And then while you're in the midst of whatever you're going through, and you're seeing this, you're like, everyone's just fucking living it.
Everyone's happy.
Yeah.
And rich.
And rich, and I'm fucking miserable. And you're just like, but it's that, I don't know, man. It's that. It's not real, It's
not real.
Yeah.
You should promote normal posts. I walked 5,000 steps today.
Yeah.
That's a
I went
nice
to the
thing.
grocery store.
Yeah, that's a better one. Sorry, I remember to take out the trash on trash day.
It's like you just
Commend
put,
you,
a
sir. I
selfie-
commend you.
A selfie, putting the trash in the fucking bin. Right?
It took me a couple days, but I did all the dishes.
It's the little things, man. I remember, dude. I watered my plants today.
Oh shit, I forgot to do that. For
you
sure.
know, like it's the little things, man. Like
I hung Sorry, go ahead.
No, I don't. I was
You're
reaching for something.
You're reaching, yeah.
You go ahead, man.
I hung a tapestry today with my girlfriend in a room that's been sitting there. We were trying to figure out what to do with that room for the longest time. Now we hung a tapestry today.
You changed your life today.
It felt very productive. It took all of 10 minutes just to figure out exactly where to put it and to make it all straight.
Yeah.
And I was like, today was a productive day.
It was a good day.
Absolutely.
I played my guitar for 8 hours in a day on many, many occasions. It didn't feel that productive. I can just say.
Dude, but it was.
It was productive. Of course
was.
it's productive. And not to take away, the creative process is the most fulfilling thing ever, but sometimes it can also be the least rewarding one.
It's
because when you spend sometimes 8 hours a day on something and you don't feel like you got what you want out of it, that is the epitome of the worst feeling that somebody that an artist or a musician could feel, right? It's like that is what you feel your purpose is in existence, and you fail at that for the day.
Dude, yeah.
Yeah.
You put something out, no one cares.
Yeah, nobody cares. Or you don't even care. You don't even like it. That's the
Yeah,
worst part.
yeah. You worked on it too much, and you don't like it anymore.
That's the worst part. It's like it's one thing.
And the worst part is that's every single release.
Yeah.
Every single one. By the time I put everything out, I've ever put out, I've been like, God damn it. Whatever. Here. Take
But
it.
it has to be rewarding when that many people like it, right?
Yeah, you got a lot of
when
streams,
they
bro.
do.
Yeah.
When they do.
Come
Yeah.
over
But
to
once
our
again-
wheelhouse for a minute.
But once
Yeah, let
again,
me show you our streaming numbers, bud.
yeah. No, okay, so like it is, but it's like also that thing where it's like if you base your satisfaction with what you're making based on people's responses to it, you will never be happy.
That's true.
You will never ever be happy with it. And so like I am happy with a lot of the things that I'm making right now. And I love to joke about how, like, you do hate it by the time you're done mixing it. That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Always true. But then 3 months later, you listen to it and you're like, oh, man, I'm really proud of that. I'm really glad that I spent the time on that. And, like, I'm glad I didn't release it when I first thought I was going to release it. I'm glad I waited another 6 months and, like, gave it 10 more mixes, you know?
Yeah.
I'm glad I was neurotic for a minute about that. And
Thank you for justifying me, because this guy thinks I'm fucking crazy for all that shit.
I'm glad I suffered a little bit over that, because, like, when I listen to it now, I'm perfectly happy with it. And, like, you know, and that's true for, like, 70% of what I've released in my life.
Yeah.
Of, like, since Trash Panda, like 70% of those 3 albums I listen to and I go, I'm perfectly happy with that. And I feel great about that. That's a passing grade. I feel good about that, you know? And, like, that's, like, the self-satisfaction, because, like, the songs that I love the most, no one else cares about.
Yeah. That's how it goes, right?
About. The songs that I love the most, like, don't have many streams at all.
That's a really good philosophy and a good message for the kids.
For
the kids.
Yeah.
Do it for yourself.
Do it for yourself.
Don't care about what anybody else thinks.
Yeah.
That's always been my approach to writing music until this guy joined the band. And he was like, "Oh, people." It's like, well, who are you talking about at some point? Literally any pop song that I don't like. He's like, "Yeah, well, this many people like it, so you're fucking wrong."
That is
okay.
true.
So there's both of those things are true, man.
Yep.
Both are true.
Yeah.
I think that
Red versus blue over here. Bro.
I don't necessarily subscribe to that idea, though.
Sure.
Because people oftentimes make the wrong decision when we're thinking as a collective unit. We oftentimes make the wrong decision when we are individuals thinking as a mass collective. We oftentimes make the incorrect decision, which is why I'm saying, not to say, like, I'm always the biggest advocate for great sounding, polished music.
Right.
I think pop music, as far as the musicians go and the artists go, some of the most talented people in the world, right? I think that the product they're producing, from a production standpoint, is amazing. A lot of the time. The end result is McDonald's, right? So literally, the masses have all agreed that McDonald's is the best thing to eat, right? Because the numbers just show that.
It's the most served,
Yeah, but, like, doesn't mean it's the best food.
Yeah, is it the best food?
Is it the best food for you? It's not, right? So that's what I'm saying about pop music. It's like, just because it's a song that's selling and that people love, it does not make it a good song.
Well, yeah, that's the most popular song I've ever written is the song I absolutely loathe the most of any song I've written.
Atlanta Girls.
Yeah, and I wrote it.
It's a good song.
Semi-cynically. Thank you. I honestly, and I can hold both of those things at the same time. I'm like, wow, this song fucking, like, smashes. It does. I love that song, and I fucking hate that song.
Yeah.
And, like, and I'll also tell you that, like, I remixed and mastered it for the vinyl. It's way better on vinyl. Got a few of them in my closet. But, and so there's things I'm really proud about that song, and I also hate that song because I wrote it semi-cynically. Like, it's honest in the sense that that song was like documenting the feeling I had when I was like 23 or 24 in the Atlanta, like, bar scene. It's like, wow, this is garbage. Like, everyone, like these are, like, I'm offended by the behavior going on here, just in terms of just the way, like, men are treating women, the way women are allowing themselves to be treated. Like, it's tragic. It's really tragic. And that song, the entire song, is really just uplifting the tragedy of the bar scene and the shit show that it is. And then when we released it and people loved it and they'd ask for it at shows and I'd be like, no, I'm not fucking playing that song. I would get all angry because people, all they wanted to do to that song was fucking rail coke and fucking get hammered. And, like, that's exactly what that song is, totally, like, condemning.
Right.
But the song feels so good that you want to rail coke and get hammered listening to that song. So I'm like, God, I just fucking defeated myself. And everything about that song, when I listen to it, I'm like, it's confounding, man. It's confounding. But it's exactly where I was at in my life when I, like, the period that I was writing about, it felt like that. It's like, oh man, we're gonna go out and have a good time, but, like, knowing that everything happening around you is just tragic and misinformed and, like, completely based in like psychological damage and isolation. Like none of it had to do with connection or genuine health or like the like uplifting of your community. Like everything about it was like destructive and like, you know what I mean?
But that's
what that song's about.
And that's what I'm saying, man, is that people have, the collective decided, because just in that we've stopped thinking like, you know, we stopped thinking about the individual experience. We started to think about like the collective thing, and oftentimes that's at odds with the individual, right? So the thing is, you listen to that song, and maybe the person on their own is like, well, yeah, I'm riding in my car, maybe I don't want to listen to this right now. But at a club, when, you know, there's 300 people around all taking drugs, and there's like you know, fucking music bumping, and this song comes on, it's like, yeah, I want to get ignorant as shit right now. Let's do it.
And
you know?
so I'm not against the Dionysian fucking impulse, man. I'm not against the like ecstasy. Like I think ecstasy, like going out of your fucking mind, I think it's a healthy thing.
It's definitely a healthy thing.
But and here we are drinking alcohol, but at the same time, like, but
I'll
I know
do some
that,
fucking
like,
Molly before we do a podcast. Let's fucking do it.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not speaking about Molly, but Molly too. But but like just the this sense of like losing oneself into the outside world, you know, that is ecstasy, right? Versus instasy, losing oneself internally, like going in to the complete depths of oneself. And so like, which I do think like a full spiritual initiation is instasy and ecstasy. And so you need both. But a lot of times what's going on, I think, with like, you know, just getting hammered and like whatever goes with that, it has nothing to do with either. It's not the pure Dionysian impulse. It's not it's not going into ecstasy. Like a lot of times it's just fucking like, you just want to die. You'd rather die. And this is a really fun way to die for a while. Yeah,
totally. It's an actual escape from both of those worlds.
Yeah, it's like semi-suicidal.
Yeah.
And it's tragic. Yeah.
My girlfriend was telling me, I don't know if this is true or not, but that's why they call them spirits, right? Like liquor, because because it actually is a spirit that's like, I guess, what's the word I'm thinking of?
Ghost?
Not ghost. When it takes you over. Come on.
Holy Ghost?
Demon?
A demon, yeah, but like possesses you. That's what happens when you drink alcohol.
Spirit.
They call them spirits because a demon possesses you when you drink them.
Yeah, the alcohol is a solvent, right? Like it breaks things down.
That is true.
It is a depressant
lets
as well.
The spirits in.
Exactly.
It lets the spirits move into you.
That's what it is.
And so alcohol, like, like the grapes of Dionysus, like, right? Like
yeah.
Fucking the wine of like Bacchanalia, like in the orgiastic like flow of like, you know, that there's something mad in that, and so it's funny because I'm a very contradictory person, man. Like when I think about these things, when I like the way I feel about all these things is completely ambiguous, man. And I'll state a strong opinion one day and I'll counter it the next.
Right.
And I'll fight with myself about it. And like right now, like I normally don't drink, but I'm with you guys drinking bourbon and I'm enjoying it a lot.
Well, it's just a Kentucky tradition. I don't know what's...
Yeah, it's Kentucky tradition, man. Let the spirits in, let them move through.
That's right.
Like I'm cool. Me and the spirits are cool, man. Like we hang out a lot, and
there's probably an aspect of
it's whatever.
Have you ever tasted heaven in a glass? Do you pine for the hoppiest brews and palest ales? Do you like food? If so, then Wicked Barley is the oasis that your mouth has been wishing for, walking into the complete barren wasteland that is your life. Wicked Barley is located in Jacksonville, Florida, nestled on the banks of Goodbeast Creek. Wicked Barley aims to provide its guests with a wicked experience, offering over 18 house-brewed beers, ciders, and meads on tap. They also have an expansive gastropub-style food menu, including burgers, salads, sandwiches, and more. Whether you are a newcomer or a craft beer connoisseur, there's a little something for everyone at Wicked Barley. Visit them at 4100 Bay Meadows Drive and tell them Bottom of the Bill sent you.
There's an aspect of you know, having walls up, right, as a person, and keeping certain things out mentally, right, and then there's an aspect of like letting your guard down and trying to accept the positive things, and right, and then And then I guess like perfection would be knowing when to put those walls up and when to put them down, right?
Yeah. And what is perfection? And like, why do we even care?
Exactly.
About perfection?
Right.
Because we're all gonna fucking die.
That's why we drink. That's why we drink.
And that's
right?
why we drink. So it
Because-
comes back in full circle.
Exactly, because this would lower your inhibition to the point where just let it all in, the positive and the negative, whatever those things are, spiritual. If it's demons, if it's angels, whatever it is, you let it all in.
Yeah.
And I would have to imagine that what like the thought process is that humans are constantly stuck in just paradoxical thinking because we're at a level of awareness, right, that allows us to understand certain things on such a deep level, but then we can't break through this one thing. Our mind literally goes into a loop.
Yeah.
It's the same way that physics works, right? Like we can break down atoms to a certain point, and then or particles, and we can see them interact in a certain way, and we know that when we stop observing them, they react in a different way. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense to us at all.
It doesn't.
Our mind goes in a complete loop. It literally breaks after a certain point.
That's what's great about paradox, though. I've always been obsessed with paradox because it's the edge of language.
Yeah.
And language is just such a language promises so much and delivers like so little because you want to be able to say what you mean.
Yeah.
You want to be able to say the truth.
It's impossible.
You want to be able to encapsulate the universe in a word or in like a series of words, right?
Yeah.
You can't do that shit.
No,
That's not what language is for, dude. Yeah. It's not what it's for.
No.
It's like a shitty fucking tool.
And that's where it comes to an end. Like when you try to say what's happening to the universe, it's like it's expanding into nothing. And like in just English, that makes no fucking sense, but that's what's happening.
Right. Well, that's the only way that we know how to describe it, right?
That's what I mean.
It was my unpopular opinion like a year ago or something was that language is the actual root of all evil, right? Because what we've done is we've distilled every kind of sensory we've distilled everything that we're perceiving into a physical kind of realm, right? And even across every culture and every we can't communicate to each other across the world, right? Like language has made it so we can't actually communicate ideas to people that live on the other side of the world.
God
right?
made it that way.
And then you have
Tower of Babel.
Yeah.
That's in Genesis, Bob.
Yeah, no, I get it. There's some
church.
truth. There is some truth to that. There is some truth to that as far as what the limitation of language actually is, right?
No, I know.
And like you have. In certain cultures, there's a way that they describe things that don't translate to other languages, right? So it kind of forces you to have to water down what they mean when they say something. So when you translate old texts or whatever, like what you're actually getting isn't even what they were actually saying. So again, another way that history kind of like doesn't even work, and our understanding doesn't work. But at the end of the day, humans, I think we're at a level of understanding where we're like on the verge of being able to be like telepathic because we understand all these things that we're perceiving, but we can't quite express it in a way that allows us to unify on any one level, right? So that's kind of where we're stuck at right now.
I think the worst thing that ever happened in evolution or for humanity is just that we became aware. We could have been like just hunting for monkeys, monkeys to bang in the fucking forest, and then decided, no, we want to figure out how to use this stick as a tool, and then from there it was just downhill.
I would actually disagree.
No,
I think
I'm pretty sure that's the way to be.
I think that we reached the pinnacle. I think that we actually reached the pinnacle of awareness a long time ago.
And like you
said,
said,
I think that consciousness as we know it is something that we just perceive. It's not something that we learn. It's something that we perceive, that we tap into like a source. It's like a well, right? No. So number one, right, well, let's just run with my idea for a moment.
No, I just immediately disagree with you.
No, I know you disagree.
Sorry.
So
I'll keep it internalized.
Yeah, just for right now. Wait till I'm done. Yeah.
No, that's fine.
So consciousness, as we know it, is something that we perceive. It's not something that we learn, okay, or that we create in our brains. So if you think. If you think of it as a resource that we tap into, when populations become so big in one area, we're actually all tapping into the same resource, which is why crime rates go up and all these things start to happen like in cities versus like living in the middle of nowhere, right? There's all these things that like the level of just I guess your lack of caring for the people around you. Like you know what
yeah.
I mean? Like there's a lack of
that like
understanding.
psychology experiment where somebody was like attacked and then the
in
the
people
windows,
in the
yeah,
windows,
and they
nobody
just-
called the police,
nobody
but
called.
27 people were witnesses to
That's
it.
what
Yeah.
I'm saying. So it's
Yeah.
like there's so many people tapping into this one thing where there's actually not enough of it in that one area for all of us to be sharing that thing, right? So it dumbs down the entire society.
Yeah.
It makes you not so unified on that level. When you go out into places where it's not so populated, there's less people tapping into that thing. So there, not to say there's not problems, but there's more of there is more of a community kind of feeling in those areas where you take care of people, you acknowledge, like you're literally watching what's going on at your neighbor's house because that's just the only thing to do. There's that level of consciousness you're tapping into. At one point in our life, in human existence, there was not so many people in the world tapping into this one resource. At one point, there was small populations of people that lived throughout that I believe could perceive things that we can no longer perceive today.
Do you think like the stream was bigger since there wasn't that many people and they were all just like super mega brains?
I think
Yeah, there was less people tapping into one resource.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, not to say that consciousness is finite or anything,
Yeah.
but it is relative to the air to certain areas, I believe.
Yeah.
Right.
So
Like
you get more of it out in the sticks, but less in the city.
look at the amount of stars you can see in the middle of nowhere versus being in a city.
Okay.
Okay, that's like just think that that's just a level of perception, right? I'm saying that the level of perception, like thousands of years ago,
Okay.
I believe that was the pinnacle of human perception and awareness.
So they were more. They
Think about the-
they were more closer to the pinnacle,
The
of
source.
being of a human.
To whatever source consciousness is, like
Interesting.
they were more in tune to that because there was no distractions like we have with cell phones today. They're taking us out of the moment, right?
Yeah.
And like there's like the things that they talk about seeing in the skies, right?
Oh, you don't just mean like the populations; you mean like technology too.
Technology, absolutely,
I see,
yeah. It's
okay.
It's all the distractions.
So it wasn't
The
like-
population just comes with more distractions, right?
Sure.
So all I'm saying is that thousands of years ago, we didn't have the technology to distract us. We didn't have or the technology to outsource so much of what our brain's capable of doing. We have cell phones that store every single number.
yeah, our memories are gone.
Our memories are gone.
Gone.
This is all part of our capabilities of perceiving and understanding things,
Yeah.
right? We outsource morality to the government has to say you can't do this, otherwise you get penalized. Versus us just knowing as a people that you shouldn't
Here we
do this thing, right? I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that it comes with
I get the soapbox is in the closet, dude.
it comes with population sizes. You know what I mean?
Well, maybe. I just don't think that consciousness is a finite thing you can touch,
What?
and I think that it was created
I'd say it was finite.
to perpetuate evolution and survival.
What if I said,
That's just my opinion.
yeah,
What do you got?
what do I got? What do I got? I like your musings a lot, Anton. I feel like every drop of consciousness you could want is available now.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, I think that's all available. And I think it's like weirdly in some ways like more available, in some ways harder to access, in some ways like there's more like like trash code to sort through, you know, in terms of just bullshit to sort through, but like it's a ripe dump that we live on. And
Right.
there's so much like in that dump of like human civilization, Western, Eastern, you know, ancient, you know, our concepts of West and East. There's so much to sort through in this time because of the internet. Like there's so much that I've been able to learn as a like, you know, middle to lower middle class person that I would have never learned, you know, 100 years ago. I would have had no access to that knowledge, you know, having read, you know, as like a teenager and early 20s, like reading like all the sacred texts of the world that I could get my hands on for free. You know, I could read, you know, compendiums of ancient wisdom on my phone, but that's what I chose to do with the internet.
Right.
And like a lot of people chose to do some other fuck shit with the internet, and I chose some fuck shit too. I did all kinds of fuck shit with the internet, but I also did that, and that took me somewhere.
Yeah.
And that like was something that I couldn't have done 100 years ago. That was something that like could have never happened, you know, before the 90s, before
Sure.
the 2000s, you know. It could have never happened.
Yeah.
And that's fucking weird. That's the only thing I can say about our society that's just really weird and unprecedented that we know of, because that kind of technology never survives. Like if our society went down, all that shit's gone.
Right.
Really fast. Like, you know, society doesn't even have to go down. The internet goes down, it's all gone, and like it's all gone. Like it can be gone so fast.
That's what I'm saying,
Yeah.
right? Is that,
Yeah.
that like that's so it's the information that you got from what I would call like distractions, the internet, right?
Yeah,
like
the hive mind,
yeah,
the electronic Borg mind.
This is information. Yeah, that's what this is information that I believe that we can, that if we thousands of years ago, because I'm not saying the pinnacle was before the internet. I'm saying that the pinnacle was thousands of years ago. I'm saying that
Like
these
pyramids?
Satya Yuga stuff, like you're talking like almost Atlantean
Yeah, I'm
kind
confused.
of
Yeah,
vibes.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
I can dig that.
and I'm saying
I'm not
that
opposed to that
these people
at all.
probably reached this kind of awareness, not obviously the same like physical information that we're looking at, but had a certain understanding of the universe and consciousness that the information that you read got you to, right?
Mm-hmm.
But their experience got them to.
They distilled
They
it.
distilled it from the source versus reading it from the internet, which I guess could be the source of today. But I think that outsources a lot of the work, right?
But what if you outsource the work and then go into those spaces with a remembrance of the map you viewed in that compendium of ancient knowledge? So you took that compendium of ancient knowledge and then you fasted from technology and food and whatever the fuck else, and you ended up in the woods or in the desert, and then you took an entheogenic substance or not. Like one of the most profound trips of my life was last year with no drugs whatsoever, just traveling into the desert. And so with all of that foundation of the things I had read, and it's just words, language, like we were talking about, that seems so empty, but language can also be a valid doorway into these psychic spaces, into these understandings and these ways of, these perspectives, these ways of looking at the world, that then when you take them into the actual world and you take away the distractions of the technology, then like the veil just drops.
Yes.
And everything is just as it always has been, and like, you know, eternity is just laid completely bare at your feet. Like,
Yeah.
just there it is, like as it always has been, and you are just a speck and just a you know a a weeping and deeply loving and infinitely large speck in an infinitely larger situation. you
Yeah.
know? And like, so, and that's happening to so many of us.
I would say that that's for sure true, and I would say that on the mass scale of the world, that would be the exception to the rule right now.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people. So that's what I mean by us
enough.
as a
Has it
society.
always been? That's the question. I'm just curious.
Has it always? You know, that's a good question. And as you were saying that, I was thinking like, well, there's this idea of the information that we've learned through, you know, history that's been distilled through processes that have, you know, are not conducive to facts, right? There was probably populations of people that existed in those times that were just caught up in the day-to-day of the existence of whatever that period was, right?
Yeah.
And with those distractions that weren't thinking in that way.
All
But
right.
the populations were so much smaller back then. You know what I mean?
What if all of us are both? I mean, yesterday I ate fucking Whataburger, dude.
Yeah.
And today I'm waxing poetic about fucking like apotheosis.
That's what I'm saying.
And
yeah.
it's like,
That's what I mean.
you know what I mean? Like, what if all of us are both? Like, what if it's not rare at all? What if all of us are just like tremblingly, weakly divine? Like, just
do you think that would be the pinnacle of consciousness?
What does that mean?
So what that means is that we had at one point there was such a lack of distraction where there was nowhere to go.
Like the golden age, like a golden age of consciousness.
Exactly. Like you said, that experience you had with your like you got to experience that, and then you come back to the distractions, right?
Yeah.
There was no escaping back then. Like that was constantly the world.
So I experienced a microcosm of the golden age of consciousness, and I love the idea that there is a macrocosmic golden age. I subscribe to it 100%. I love the idea that's what Satya Bop is about. Satya Bop, that song.
Yeah.
It's about like the idea of my friend out in New Mexico. He's an Ayurvedic doctor. He's my best friend. He saved my life when I had that brain problem, and I love him so much. He was telling me a story about a sage in the Satya Yuga in the Golden Age who sat on a hilltop for something like 1,000 years or 10,000 years, just sat on a hilltop. And of course, in the myths, these people grew to be, whatever it was, 25 feet tall or 30 feet tall.
Yeah.
These enormous like sages just sitting on a mountain, for 10,000 years, and he's just watching the world bloom around him, and he's just digging it. Just watching creation like whirl, I love that idea. Yeah, I love the idea that there was that's a poetic idea. It's beautiful, and we carry it in every moment. Like, we carry it around with us if we choose. Carry it like this poetic moment, like of this poetic eternity, right? Of a golden age. We can carry it with us through life. I love that shit so much, and yet I also argue that even now in the so-called Kali Yuga, like in the depths of the shit, like in the mud, there is the fucking jewel in the lotus right there.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
It's right there, and it's not different than the jewel in the lotus in the Satya Yuga that's like beyond compare, enormous, like many galaxies. You know what I mean?
I see what you're saying.
It's like it's the same thing.
Yeah, like you said before about how there is no like, oh, we're progressing or anything like that. It's always there.
Yeah, there's a rhythm going on.
I believe that too.
Yeah.
I can't subscribe to that. Like that there was something back in the day, like they all just were more collectively just better. I don't think so. I think that it's just always has been.
And the way I say I subscribe to it, I don't necessarily believe on the mundane plane that it looked a certain way, that it looked the way I'm describing.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
No, like maybe it's like more blurry to get there now.
It's like an
because of
eternal poetic
distractions and
truth.
stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like a poetic truth that may take actual form in the like, what do you call it? The stratum, the like material of time, It may take form in the material of time, but it may not. I'm insane. You guys got me drunk,
That's
and now
stringy stuff.
you guys know how completely insane I am. I'm being
It's not
completely
insane.
honest.
No, this at one point was a music podcast.
This is a philosophical
Now
podcast.
I believe you thought you were drinking bourbon.
I'm just
but
a
it's
complete
actually
idiot.
ayahuasca.
Yeah. Dude,
Wow, good
I'm an
time.
idiot philosopher, dude. I know
Not at all.
nothing.
I don't think anybody's a smart philosopher. It's
Yeah,
just everybody's
exactly.
experiencing the same goddamn thing everybody else is.
Yeah,
We're
the
all
com-
just trying to make sense of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, this whirling,
Exactly.
dude. It's a whirling. Life is a whirling, and it's beautiful, or not.
It's
Sometimes
definitely
it's
very
not.
ugly sometimes.
Yeah.
For sure.
Thanks for being. You're a very grounded voice, man.
Yeah. I
Thank
try.
you.
Yeah, realist.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate it a lot. I'm really enjoying. I didn't know what to expect tonight, you guys. I really appreciate talking
Oh,
with
thanks,
y'all.
man. No, this is
Thanks for having me here.
Absolutely, man. It's always
Yeah.
interesting coming into these with people that we don't know. You never know how it's gonna go.
No.
But I love the conversation on the music and the detours that we took.
Yeah.
Yeah,
in
of course.
between. It's like that's part of the whole experience. That's why we do this show. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
just-
beautiful. Them.
Thanks, man.
Just to talk about music, and for people who actually like hearing about talking about music. My favorite quote from Metalocalypse. You ever watch that show?
A little bit.
A little bit. My favorite.
Beautiful show.
My favorite quote is talking about music is like singing about farting.
Yeah.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Fucking listen to the music. You don't need to fucking talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, whatever. Here we are.
Talking about it's fun anyway.
Well, to musicians, it's fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. I'd like to talk some more about music. I
Sure.
don't know.
What's your favorite chord?
Oh, that's a great fucking question.
No, I know.
Yeah, I like a 6/9 chord. I like a chord with
Oh.
a 6 and a 9 in it.
I
I like a
love
13
6/9.
chord.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's
What
got the
that
dominant
means.
7 in it. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know.
Oh.
Like, you know, if
Like
it's
the
a
major
13,
sevens.
like
Okay.
maybe it does. But, you know, I like a... I like a major 7 with a sharp 11, man. I'm a
Ooh.
Lydian man.
You're
I
a
like-
Lydian
I like
guy?
how
I like
you
Lydians,
do- Lydian
bro.
man.
You're, not that you
I like
mean-
Lydian dominance also. Lydian dominance.
You're a Simpsons guy.
Yes. Yeah, oh, yeah. I guess
Only likes the
it's a
Simpsons.
nice
He
little
likes-
minor 2/5
Well, we
action.
did
Lydian
going.
with a
see
flat
before,
7.
We've
Yeah.
lost your fucking now. I was gonna say with the I liked how
Danny
vague you
Elfman.
were about like the actual like just chord structure. I was like, okay, like a color. It's like, what's your favorite color? I'm like, I don't know. Like, I like the colors with pigments. Is basically what you said. I meant like more like D flat major 6/9. Is that
D
your
flat
favorite?
major. Oh, like you want a specific root note
chord.
and like
no, I
an
know. I
idea.
realized what I said. It could be like.
Yeah, I was
broken
like
down.
chord quality. I'm
Not
thinking
that-
of.
I
I
was
like,
kinda
you know,
being
I
facetious.
really,
That's
all
when I
right.
asked
So
that question.
since we're talking about Lydian mode, I really like E Lydian. It's
Yeah.
B major. It's E Lydian. I love it. It's just like it's got some etheric shit that I just love.
Now, I'm a little bit foggy on that. That's a major scale with a sharp fourth, isn't it?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah,
I got it
exactly.
right. Okay.
Yeah,
Just making sure I
nailed
got
it.
it right.
Nailed it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
That's why I called that song Lydia Lane, Lydia Lane. It's just it's
Ooh.
Lydia. It's an E. Yeah, that's it.
All right.
That's why I called that song that.
Not that anybody asked,
'Cause,
but
yeah.
my favorite chord is D flat 7, major 7.
D flat major 7 is a great chord.
Not major 7.
You said major 7.
You said major 7.
Oh, sorry.
We said both, and that's a little
I don't want
confusing,
to.
right?
I'm not dominant 7.
Not
so a
dominant
major
7.
7 then.
Yeah, thank
Major
you.
7.
I got it
yeah.
right.
Yeah, you got it
Yeah.
right.
I always get those two fucking confused.
I've never taken a music lesson in my life, and this guy went to school, and I know more about theory than he does. Explain that to me.
Oh,
That's not
damn.
true, actually.
That's very true.
No,
Sleeping
it's
through
not.
class is a bitch, dude.
I know a lot more about theory than
That's
you
not
do.
true, though. That's
You-
really not true.
You just said that a major
right.
7 chord was a
All
dominant
right,
chord.
guys, we
No,
gotta
no,
get the
no.
whiteboard out.
No,
Yeah,
I was just,
you
You guys got a whiteboard? Let's
back.
go.
I do get confused when it comes to those 7s. That's just a thing that,
We're gonna
that
do-
I have.
I
We're gonna do
explained to you
closed
what
eyes
upper
thing?
structures were the other day also.
That's fine. I actually watched last night. Last night
Just saying.
I was showing my girlfriend's not very well. I'm not trying to rag her on anyways, but she's not musical at all, and so I was like, I took her to a jam band show for the first time on Friday night, and she asked the best questions ever, which is like, why? Wait, are they playing the same song again? I was like, oh my god. No, they're jamming, and they went back into the song. I was like, well, why did they do that? And I'm like, I just started laughing because I don't even know the answer to that question, but yeah, that's just what they do.
It's actually a pretty profound question,
I know,
actually.
that's why I was
yeah,
laughing at, right?
yeah.
But anyways, I was showing her a music theory lesson, and one thing that never really like occurred to me is why when you're talking about keys, different notes in the key, like for example, why in A major, why is it not D flat instead of C sharp in A major,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Why sharp and flat keys?
It's
yeah.
very simple. Because we've gone back and forth on this, and you keep on arguing back with me. It's like, why does it matter? People will get it. But then
Yeah.
there's actually a really good reason.
Mhm.
And it's because when you're saying the scale like that, you don't want to repeat the same letter.
I understand
That's
that.
period.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
That's
For
all it
sure.
is. That's all it
That's
is.
all it
no,
is.
that's 100% what it is.
Yeah.
I know that, right? But when I'm in the moment explaining a change to somebody,
Mhm.
I'm not thinking about every individual note in the scale. So
Right.
that's where my music theory kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
Between the differences between sharps and flats.
Right.
But I can tell you all day what the chord qualities are and how they relate and like the different scales that you can use over them and all that stuff. What I can't do on the moment is tell you, oh wait, is when we're in
Here's a great
B,
example.
are we saying G flat or are we gonna say D sharp? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's not gonna come into my head right away, right?
And it depends on like you know what's your job. Like, doesn't matter. You know,
Right,
it doesn't
right.
matter.
And it
Right.
doesn't
It's like
matter.
what- yeah.
If
Because I'm with you.
if
I'm
I'm
with you.
speaking broken English to you and you understand what I'm saying, we're there, right?
Yeah, we're
That's
hanging.
it.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got a
But
connection.
all the reason I brought that up is you said you know more than me.
I
That's
do know
not
more
true.
than you.
That's not true.
I do.
What is your favorite chord G sharp major?
No,
Why is that?
because I don't really like G sharp at all, to be honest with you.
It's because it's not a chord.
G sharp
Major?
major?
Yeah.
Why not?
It's because it's A flat major.
Why?
Because of what I just said earlier, where you want to have the same letters going up the whole way.
But you can
That's
still.
fair.
Can't you still do that if you start from G sharp?
No.
You just adjust the notes as you go.
What?
I feel like it's all relative, really, right? If you're in the key of E and you're playing the G sharp major as the 5 of 6.
You're hurting my brain when you say G sharp major, but keep going.
Yeah. If you play the G sharp, let's say you play a G sharp 7, a dominant 7 as the 5 of 6, it's going to feel more like a G sharp than an A flat because you're in the key of E. And that would be the 3 dominant, which is
dominant.
actually the 5 of 6.
Right.
Goodness.
See, I know all that language right there.
Yeah.
As soon as you
No.
start getting into the specifics about the sharps and the flats,
Yeah.
that's why I'm like, that doesn't matter to me. You said G sharp, a dominant, and how it relates to the other chords within that scale. Like, I know all that shit.
It's always
right?
relative.
Yeah.
Always
That's
relative.
all that really matters.
Yeah.
You could start calling
Yeah.
scales Pokemon names, and then if you fucking knew the Pokemon key that we're in,
Yeah.
if I'm playing an Charizard sharp,
Yeah.
we're fucking going ham on it. And I fucking know what that is, and that's
Yeah.
just fucking G.
Dude.
We're in.
Squirtle flat.
Yeah,
Squirrel flat.
Yeah, my favorite fucking key. I just like Bulbasaur Lydia. Anyways, we're
yeah.
definitely the exact same fucking age.
All I'm saying is you didn't know what a minor 2/5 was when you joined the band, and now you do, right?
Yes, that is true. I mean, I didn't know what the reason for why you would say that in a thing, but I know what a second and a fifth was in a scale,
Yeah.
like for the chords and everything. But
Yeah.
now I know.
Anyways, music theory is really fun and boring at the same time.
It's way more boring than talking about philosophy, which is what we were doing. But this is supposed to be a music podcast, which is
It all kind of relates, man. Pythagorean music theory is
Yeah.
absolutely philosophy.
That
It's
is true.
absolutely like
Yeah,
right there. That's how I teach my students. Call me for lessons if you want
Yeah.
them.
We'll put his
I
number
teach
at the
my
bottom right
students,
here,
yeah.
so you guys
Teach my students the mysteries of the universe. They're like 13. And they're like, why do I need to know that? They're like, what?
There-
I don't know.
There is.
But no, they get it. They always get it. Like, they always get it, man.
I think that it helps when you're teaching people about music to like relate it to something that like outside of that, because I think people look at music as this almost mystical thing, and it's not, right? Like we have roadmaps to explain how things work, which is what theory is, and it's just that it is a theory, which is why when you're in E major you can do something else besides go to C sharp minor on a bridge, right? Because the theory is just a roadmap, but if you explain it in a way that helps them relate it to like life things, I think most people think about life in philosophical ways, right? Like people dig deep into things like when they're thinking about it by themselves, like not in a social setting. So if we explain music in that same kind of way, they can break it down like that. It makes it much more obtainable for them. This is not this mystical thing that people are playing and that's just hypnotizing you. This is a very obtainable thing that you can do.
It is. It is.
You know,
full
It is.
circle. I'm gonna start calling you Full Circle Tony because you brought it all together, dude. You saved the show.
that's what I do. I've gotten pretty good at this podcasting thing, I will say.
This is our 56th episode.
56th episode.
Wow,
I know, right?
guys. Damn.
Been like a
that
year and a
means
half
we've just
now.
been sitting here trying to figure out how to keep a conversation going for 2 hours now.
And trying to figure out how to be successful in the music industry, which we've yet to do.
Dude,
So-
that's an uncrackable code.
Totally,
no, I know.
man. It
We're,
really
we're,
is.
we're starting to learn it,
Uncrackable
and
code.
you've been
Yeah.
the pinnacle of probably the guest with the most plays, and we were like, okay, we're gonna fucking get to
Dude,
it. We're now
and the
gonna
only
get
thing I have
it.
to tell you is I don't fucking know anything.
No,
Yeah,
I know.
exactly.
That's why I laughed so hard.
I don't know anything. And the only thing I know is that
That's not bad.
so without Spotify, I wouldn't have a career, and I would have a way more sane career. Like without Spotify, I wouldn't have done anything as far as I know, but anything I would have done would have made a lot more sense.
But I don't.
Spotify is a total fucking enigma in the like vast sea of
It is
history.
very
It is,
strange.
man.
It makes no sense.
And I always have to wonder, coming back to that playlist that you were on, somebody had to put you there.
Who the fuck was it?
Exactly.
Somebody called me from Capitol Records. I still have her number. Her
you
name's Kelly. She
serious?
doesn't work there anymore.
Oh, okay.
She doesn't work there anymore. She called me that week from Capitol Records. I was like, look, man, I don't know what's happening. And like,
Why'd
I'd
she
love
call
to
you?
tell you that like I've got a bunch of shit ready to go, but like, and she's like, well, we just know you're on our radar. And I'm like, okay, but I really doubt that I can make the most of this, and I didn't,
Oh,
and
man.
we didn't make the most of it, and we broke up, and we're bigger now than we were then, and it makes no sense, dude.
Well.
So like, the only thing I have to say is like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with like. Nothing I've done has made any effect on my Spotify numbers. If I've put money into advertising, if I've put money into like,
Yeah, that
it's
was
made a
one of my
difference in
questions.
YouTube numbers, it's made a difference on Facebook or Instagram. No difference on Spotify.
No kidding.
Nothing. There's nothing I've done has affected that algorithm at all. It is impenetrable as far as I know.
Sure. That was one of my questions that I had. I had a couple of questions about everything that had to deal with your plays on Spotify. And then as soon as you told me that, I was like, okay. I was like, what was your marketing strategy?
I don't think it has to do with how good the music is.
You don't
I-
think so?
No, it's definitely a part of it.
It's gotta be.
I
was
mean,
gonna
it
say-
can't be terrible. It can't
Yeah,
be
yeah.
terrible. Like, well, that's subjective too.
Yeah.
But it can't be like completely unappealing to, you know. But I don't understand it.
I'm laughing a little bit because I kind of assumed a little bit that like you were like, okay, we did this and this and this, and but I love the answer that it
Yeah.
was, and I'm not trying to say that it was luck. Like a bit of it was luck, but
Luck.
you wouldn't have got there if it wasn't good. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, that's fair, and
Yeah,
I
right?
appreciate that.
And
I
that's what
appreciate
I'm
you
trying
not.
to say. I don't want to be like it was
Yeah.
all luck. He's just a lucky guy or whatever.
I
but-
do say that,
Well, yeah.
and do feel that way.
But it was also like
Because
you said.
I also think I made music before that was really good. No one's
Yeah,
heard it.
sure.
It was on Noise Trade. It was on like
okay.
Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Who
Oh, yeah,
cares? Who
Bandcamp,
gives
yeah.
a fucking shit? No one ever heard it.
Yeah.
You know, my friends, my family heard it. No one heard it. I think it was pretty good. I think if Spotify had existed, I don't know, probably not. Like, it probably wouldn't have done anything. I don't know, man.
if you
The
were-
shit I'm releasing right now, I think is really good. It's not really doing much, man. It's not doing much.
You don't think so?
Some of my listeners from Snakes, thank goodness, have tied into what I'm doing, and thank God there's like I have a little fan base, and I really appreciate it a lot. But growing it has nothing to do with anything I've ever done. Like in terms of like intentionally like, oh, advertise
something
here,
extra, yeah,
or
yeah.
like, you know, make this kind of thing, or like, you know, like put money into this. None of that shit has worked, man. None of it. I hate telling you that. I hate saying
it's
that.
great,
That's
'cause
real.
That was the other part about starting this podcast and everything too. Is like how to do everything in this way and like growing everything like that. And then you meet somebody, it's just like, this is what I did. And
It's fucking like I'm lost. I'm lost, dude. Every day I'm like, what the fuck am I doing?
Well,
I'm lost, man.
This is what we
Oh,
were just
no.
talking about this the other day in the van, where he's like we did a whole marketing thing
yeah, we
for
did.
our
We
album,
spent a lot
and
of money on it.
yeah, and
Did it
and
get you some return?
no, not financially, no. It did.
Well, of
it-
course
so-
not.
Yeah, right,
That's
and
a
that's the thing with
black
marketing.
hole.
The marketing stuff is a snowball thing. You can't just do
Yeah.
one campaign. You have to do like a
Yeah.
bunch of them over
Yeah,
time.
yeah, yeah,
But like either way, but the point being was like I noticed growth on Instagram. I noticed growth on Facebook.
Yeah.
That's
That's something.
I saw nothing with Spotify. Quite literally, not only did we see nothing, we had the marketing, the consultant come back and say, hey man, listen, unless you're putting this amount of money into Spotify, which just for those who are interested, it's $1,000 or up. Unless you're putting that amount of money into an ad campaign on Spotify, it does nothing.
I've never done that, by the way. Never.
I didn't even know it was a thing to do an
Yeah.
ad campaign on Spotify. But we had
Like a radio ad on their like.
I don't even know
on
what
their
it does.
free platform.
I don't even know what it is.
Thought about that one time, but never did it.
That might be that's probably a thing that you can do. I don't know what the marketing strategy is on Spotify. I know that we allocated a certain amount of our budget to go to Spotify over a certain period of time,
Yeah.
and the number was $250 over the course of a certain amount of time, because this is all about transparency. And
Big bucks right there.
and
dude.
they said unless you're doing something $1,000 or above, it literally does nothing. And they were I'm not going to say the names, but they were dropping some big artists that they were working with, telling me that they couldn't afford those ads, so they weren't even putting money into Spotify. So
Yeah.
because that's how little money actually does on Spotify.
Yeah.
I don't know what the thing is with Spotify. They
Dude.
told me consistency, releasing singles monthly, putting a record out, and then within a year putting out another thing.
Dude, Yeah, they'll say that shit.
They'll say that shit, but no one fucking knows.
I don't know, man. I'm caught in a dilemma because I made an album of healing music that I think is so pretty, and I don't know if I want to release it under this name, Lazuli Vane, or not, because I feel like it's gonna fuck with my algorithm. And like a couple of my friends have been like, dude, do it, like do it, like it totally goes with your like brand, it totally goes with like who you are, and it's like the most aligned thing with who you are as a human being, so you should do it under the same name that you're doing all the other things that are aligned with who you are as a human being. But I'm still torn. I still haven't decided. This album of healing music, I'm stoked on it. I think it's beautiful. It's short. It's a good little album. It's like 25 minutes of like gorgeous like synth music with like, I was inspired by like Takashi Kokubo, just like cute music, like really like melodic healing music, and it's got like nature sounds and synthesizer, and that's all it really is. And I made it while my grandmother was passing. I couldn't visit because of the COVID restrictions. I knew she was passing. This was a few months ago, and I couldn't do anything but make this healing music, and I made it, and now I don't know what to do with it because of that exact thing. I'm like, will it dilute my algorithmic potency
Apparently
on
not.
all these platforms? You don't think it will?
No, and I'll give you an exact example of who to look at.
Cool.
That's breaking that mold.
Cool.
Are you familiar with Corey Wong?
No. Well, yeah, the guitarist. Yeah. Yeah, I
Okay.
am.
So
Yeah.
this dude has
Wolfpack and shit.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
he is so far beyond that. This dude has released
He's amazing. Yeah.
an album.
Was it like 7 albums last year?
No, he released 11 albums
11.
over the course of 1 year.
Are they all different?
Yes.
Really?
Completely different.
Really?
One was a meditation record that actually got nominated
Oh.
for an album, or for an Oscar, not
Okay,
Oscar,
cool.
Grammy Award. That he did with John Baptiste.
Cool.
And then one was he just released one with Dirty Loops, which does like all these.
Yeah, I
fun
love
fusion.
Dirty Loops, man.
Bro,
yeah,
he-
I remember them from the like that toxic Britney Spears
Yes,
cover, like back in
yes.
like 2009 or whatever.
Yeah,
that
bro.
was fucking awesome.
He just did an original collab with them, and it's
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
Actually,
And then
I saw that video.
he released a whole album with them.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
It's
That was
amazing,
really
bro.
good.
So
the whole album.
Yeah, bro.
know that.
Yeah, of all that kind of shit. So from that
Cool.
to just deep meditation music to like straight up funk, just like to straight up pop music. He's doing all of it, and he's releasing it at a rapid, like an alarmingly rapid rate. I'm like, this guy
Awesome.
must be doing something. There's no way anyone's that creative all the time, but and also that productive on the business end, right?
It's probably the harvesting of like several years of creativity, and it's all harvesting at once.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, but that's an awesome thing.
Or
And he's got two,
Adderall, so.
yeah, or Adderall.
Or Adderall.
He's got two
meth.
meth, yeah.
Straight meth.
It's basically, man.
He's also got-
Accusing Corey Wanham.
He's also
You've
got
seen him play before? I
Yeah.
mean, that's Adderall.
Yeah.
Hey, dude.
I don't know. He's really on time though. I feel like he'd be pretty ahead.
I
if
mean,
he
I don't
was
think
on
there's
that.
ever been anybody on Adderall late for anything.
yeah.
Fair enough, dude.
Yeah.
Fair enough. He's good.
He's
Yeah.
also got two acoustic albums that he put out. One
Okay.
for it was like a morning thing, and then it was like an evening thing. It was a whole like thing.
like ragas almost.
Yeah, well, no, it was pretty straightforward, like songwriting stuff, but the vibe that he was going for, or it was almost like like folk meets bluegrass meets singer songwriter kind of thing.
Yeah,
I freaked
yeah.
out when like Bright Eyes came out with 2 albums on one day, man.
Yeah.
That was awesome. And
Yeah.
that's the only thing that was close to that. And then
Yeah.
11.
And
The Tom
ba-
Brady of music right
ba-
now.
and just back to the point of like, I don't think it's gonna ruin your brand. I actually
That's
think that
cool.
it helps diversify
Yeah, I actually really want to listen
your
to
thing.
that
You know what I
too.
mean?
That's awesome.
What were the synthesizers you were using? I'm a big synth guy.
Dude, I was using software sense,
Well,
man.
what? Yeah.
I was using the Arturia V collection, pretty much.
I'm very familiar with that.
Yeah, and like, you can do so much with it.
I
I
know,
love
yeah.
it. They're kind of my favorite. Like,
I-
they just sound so good.
I love subtracted synthesis, and you
Yeah.
can do as much as you can on a computer. Probably, well, of course you can do more, but it's the same exact
Yeah.
like engine that you have on any.
There
any
is
like,
a-
that's my
Yeah.
virus right behind you. That
beautiful.
the virus TI2, and you can do everything in the world with that.
That's gorgeous.
But the what you call it, Arturia, the DAW,
Yeah.
that comes with the keyboard too.
Oh, I didn't get the keyboard for
Well,
it.
sometimes
But
it comes with the keyboard.
sometimes,
yeah.
sometimes.
But yeah, I've always wanted to do that because that's her whole thing. Is like, yeah, you can, and that's the Access Virus thing too. Is like, yeah, you can make stuff on here, but if you really just go to your computer real quick, you can do whatever you want on it.
It's fun, man.
Yeah,
I love
absolutely.
it.
And that's all that's in it, anyways, is a computer. So
Yeah.
I don't. Anybody making synthesizers on a computer that's like, well, it's not analog.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not a rich man, and you gotta be you gotta be either really committed
Yeah.
or wealthy to do real analog synthesis all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I have a couple friends who are really committed to analog synthesis, and they're wizards, and they teach me so much. But I take it, and I'm like, I take the lessons I learn, and I take them into the software because like that's all I can afford.
I will say the best way to learn subtractive synthesis, without a doubt, is get yourself. I would say a run-of-the-mill analog synthesizer.
Hands-on.
That's still gonna cost you like
Dude,
$1,000.
absolutely. And I've had plenty of hands-on experience, and that's where it
And
that's
that'll
where
make
it
more
comes
sense to you.
in.
And
Mhm.
but it's the same exact.
Then you know what
thing.
you want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I want to hear that for sure.
Awesome. I'll send it to you guys.
Well, I'm just saying on Spotify, like he said, I don't think it's gonna dilute you anyway.
No,
Cool.
not at all, man.
Yeah.
I
think
would
that's-
say maybe aren't you coming out with another album soon too?
Or
you said?
single.
Yeah, I think I'll come out with an album.
What-
Or maybe spring.
What did you say?
I've got 2 albums going right now. One is like a folk record that I
Right.
recorded in a barn in North Carolina last year, and and that's already pretty much done. I just want Landon to put some more pedal steel on it. Honestly, like I'm listening to it, I'm like, I just want more like lilting pedal steel, and then it'll be done. So that album's pretty much done, and then I've got this record of like, it's a combination of like psychedelic pop tunes, like almost kind of like disco-y shit, that like the 2 new singles I'm putting out, and then a bunch of like bossa nova stuff. It's like really sunny, like really
Fucking love
beachy
it, bro.
shit.
I
Like
love
it's
it.
like all really beachy stuff,
That's what I was.
and that's coming out hopefully in the spring.
Suggest
Spring?
like
Yeah.
the
Awesome.
like
I
the
hope.
all the album cycles or whatever you want to say. Just content is king. Content.
Sure is.
I would just fucking just
Just another one out there. Just
There you
toss
go.
it out there.
Telling you, bro.
Yeah, the healing music, the folk album, and the like poppy, catchy album.
because now I definitely want to hear it. It was all the synthes for sure.
Yeah, it's really chill. It's
Like
really
a
chill.
lot of pads and hypersaws and all that.
It is. It's melodic. It's like it's like a I don't know. I'll send it to you. It's melodic. It's tinkly and pretty, and there's some sounds that I recorded in the woods of North Carolina in
Oh,
it
love that.
throughout the whole album. And there's water, and there's birds, and there's
Where were you up in North Carolina?
I stay. So I'm going up actually in
'Cause I
the
saw
day
you,
after
you had a couple
tomorrow.
shows
I'm
up
going
there
back.
last
Yeah.
month, right?
Yeah, I go up to this place called Snaggy Mountain.
Where's that at?
Yeah, it's in Burnsville, North Carolina. It's like an hour, I guess, northwest of Asheville.
Okay.
And a good friend of mine has this place called Snaggy Mountain, and it's an artist retreat, and it's really so beautiful. And he's been putting on shows there lately. So we did one last month, and we're doing one again on this Saturday. So I'll be up there this Saturday playing.
You going up there this Saturday?
Yeah, I'm going up on Wednesday, and we're gonna rehearse. I like to play with some people up there, so we like to play together. So
You two can go
we
back
have
up
kind
there?
of like a little jam band up there, like, and a little like. Sometimes we play my music. Sometimes we play other people's music.
Are you gonna be up there during Thanksgiving?
No, I'm gonna be in Zion. Weirdly, my family's going to Zion National Park for Thanksgiving.
Alright, never
Which
mind.
is gonna be.
I'm
far
gonna
out.
go. I got a cabin in the woods for Thanksgiving
Yeah,
vacation
yeah.
for Asheville.
Yes.
I was like, well, fuck it. Like,
Damn,
I'm
fuck.
off, and like, I'm getting away from everybody for a fucking weekend.
Good for you.
Yeah,
That's
it's,
good.
It's an adorable little place.
Nice.
That's
it's on
amazing.
It's on a goat and chicken farm.
Nice.
That's
We're
like,
my aunt's
yeah.
place.
No,
Yeah.
it's in Hendersonville,
Nice.
Oh,
that's
my,
a nice
my aunt's
place.
place is in Hendersonville, so
That's awesome.
but it's not.
it's not. Yeah.
Anyways,
That's awesome.
yeah, I can't
If-
wait.
I love it
If-
up there, man.
Just back to your stuff real quick. If it's any consolation, I think that your music, what you have out there right now, is so diverse and so uniquely you that I think the people that are following that and that appreciate it will listen to whatever you put out.
Yeah, they eat it up.
Yeah, I don't think that
Thanks.
there's anything that you're gonna put out that's gonna be off-brand, because I have a feeling
Thanks.
like if I listen to your healing music or the folk record that you want to do or whatever that you're gonna be putting out, I have a feeling like I'm a genuine fan of your music, and I think
Thanks,
that I'm
Anton.
gonna appreciate and really like love anything that you put out.
Cool, man. That feels good. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. I
really good
don't
to
just say those things. Trust me, I really believe that.
I usually hates everything.
Thanks,
I
man.
usually hate everything, or I'm just
Awesome.
I'm extremely just obviously nitpicky when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Thanks, man.
So I think that whatever you put out there, man, I think that it will not be off brand. I think that you've got a genuine authenticness about what you do.
Cool.
And that's all gonna fall under your thing.
Thanks.
Genuine.
Genuine. Oh, man. Say that. My whole life has changed.
Yeah,
I
you
just
talk
say
about the
that I
thing.
Can I just say that there's one genre that I can't stand, and it's just 90s R&B.
Oh, I
my
love that
God,
shit.
that's
What the
upsetting.
fuck,
Bro,
man?
I can't fucking
Dude, oh
stand
no,
it.
I'm writing a song right now that is completely ripped from that Genuine song, dude.
Probably the
That's
one
like
song
I
won't
love
like that you put
that
out.
Yeah, it
Joking,
probably
no, I was
is.
fucking
Probably,
kidding.
I love that song, dude.
There's something
I
about
love
it
that
to
shit.
me that just I saw this documentary on Boys to Men, and
Don't.
I appreciate
Do not say what you're about
I
to say.
appreciate the talent that it takes to do what they did. I just don't like the music, man.
Fair
Got a
enough.
whole gang war with
That's pretty much how
Philadelphia
I feel
right now.
about Bruce Springsteen, dude. It's cool. It's
Right?
chill.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
chill,
saying,
man. There's
Just
nothing wrong with that.
Some shit just doesn't hit you, and that's
If
the
you
kind
don't
of stuff,
connect
like-
with it, you don't connect with it, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing
Right.
fucking personal about it.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't have to be fucking emotional.
Exactly. That's the problem with people in music, right? Is that people have such an emotional connection to
People
it.
go, what?
Yeah,
You don't like this?
it's almost like
How could you not
politics.
like that?
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Like,
that's what I
oh,
said
God,
time and
it's
time
so
again.
arbitrary.
The worst part about music is that everybody likes it.
Yeah, that's 100% true.
All right.
Uh,
Wanna wrap it up with our popular opinions? Tough guy.
Let's do it.
What do you did you work on your other two while we were talking?
I've been thinking about some stuff.
You've been thinking about some stuff.
Yeah, so I think
So
I'm
you
gonna.
want me to go first?
Well, I think my first unpopular opinion is gonna be that I don't like '90s R&B music.
Well, okay, and I understand that's fair, but all right. So what about some bangers that everybody likes?
Like what?
Like
I don't. There's not like.
We're going all the way like, what about 2000s R&B?
yeah, like what about Usher,
like,
dude?
Yeah, exactly. That's where I was going. It was Usher, man.
You don't like that?
I
You don't
remember,
like-
but I remember Usher when I was
is
like
my
in elementary school.
Yeah,
Right, yeah. I can't stand that shit,
banger
bro.
right there.
I'm not saying they're not bangers. Obviously, they're bangers. People
Trapped
like
in the
them, right?
closet, R. Kelly.
I did like Ignition though. I did like Ignition.
I
The
mean, that,
remix to Ignition.
yeah,
yeah,
I like that
everybody-
one.
Hot and fresh out the kitchen.
Yeah, that was a good one.
It's
It was
a good one.
catchy.
I'm
There's
gonna
just a
roll
lot.
on that body.
I think
Got
that,
every man in you wishing.
what
like
about my pony, Genuine?
I think
Some
R&B and soul
pony.
reaches pinnacle in like the 70s. You know what I mean? Then it got really cheesy after that. The 80s.
Boys to Men is
Ride it,
They're incredibly talented.
pony. All right, to be fair, that 70s R&B, Curtis Mayfield, very potent, very
Oh, yeah.
intellectual.
Curtis
Mayfield's
potent.
great.
Amazing.
Curtis Mayfield, like I've been on that shit lately
Socially
again.
aware.
Just like remembering how strong of a voice he had for people. Power to the people. You know,
Yeah,
that
man.
shit. Oh God, like
Ovi
So
Wright,
good,
fucking
you
Al
know?
Green, fucking Marvin
I
Gaye.
was gonna
Yeah,
say Al
that
Green,
shit is-
Marvin
yeah.
Gaye, for sure.
We're talking
what's
like-
going on? I
It's
mean, that shit is way different than 90s and 2000s R&B, which
Yeah.
is literally like, I want to fuck you,
It
girl.
just sounds
Like
like
all of
whiny. It
it,
just
like
sounds
all
like-
of it is about
It's
sex.
just
like,
whiny. It just sounds
And
very
But
whiny.
all
Could
of
be.
it is about sex to begin with.
no,
though.
No,
not
not-
true. Not Curtis Mayfield.
Not
Not
Marvin
Marvin
Gaye.
Gaye.
The Pusher Man, I guess that's about it.
Yeah,
No,
like
Marvin.
no, like they
Curtis
had like
Mayfield was-
profoundly political and like intellectual
Yeah, I
songs.
guess.
They
They were
really
like
did.
on the beat, like they were like
Yeah.
not on the beat, like out in the streets, like this is what's happening. In
Yeah,
society
dude, they
right
were
now. That is
involved.
true. That
They
is
were
true.
really involved.
Yeah, man,
man.
like-
so there is
So
something.
what
to
happened
be
there?
said.
They just switched it to be like, this is baby making music. Let's
Well,
go.
what happened
Money,
was
baby.
is that fucking record labels got their greasy fucking hands on it,
Ooh.
and they found out the angle, right? It's
Greasy
like, well,
raccoon
this
hands.
sound. People like the way that this sounds, right?
Yeah.
But let's not make it so political, right? Because we don't want to fucking
Yeah.
because white people need to buy this shit, right?
Dude, number crunchers are always gonna like. I mean, to use my shitty music for an example, number crunchers are always gonna like Atlanta girls over fucking, you know, whatever obscure bullshit I release next. You know what I mean?
That-
Like they're. Yeah, I'm just saying, like
You
they're
don't
always
know.
gonna like the like You know, the
Whatever-
thing that affirms the status quo.
Exactly.
The thing that affirms the status quo is what the money's gonna like.
So maybe
Exactly.
that's the secret.
That's what
the
it.
secret.
Just write songs about the way things are right
The way
Well-
things exactly are.
Well,
yeah,
Without
and the way
pushing
that we
them.
like it.
Not necessarily though, right? Because
that's why
what they
country
were
music
doing.
does so well. Because that's all they talk about. It's
Yeah.
just like, yeah, I'm just fucking hanging out in my fucking truck.
And that's why
going
90s
down
R&B
to
did
the
so well.
lake.
Yeah.
Because it was
Beer
just
in
all
my
about sex.
hand.
Yeah.
But like in this, but early R&B and soul music was
Yeah.
much more political than that, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey, let's try and make, the majority of the population was still is white, right? So
Yeah.
let's take the political shit out because white people don't want to hear that shit. They're not going to buy this record, and we'll just make it all about sex, and then then it sells to everybody.
Everybody's
right?
gonna buy
so there
that.
you go. That's
Yeah.
what happened,
But Boys to Men.
and then you get Boys to Men.
But I know
heresy.
there's still politically like potent stuff from that era too, which right now I'm struggling to
the
recall.
90s.
It's there. It existed.
Definitely wasn't
right
happening
now, I'm
from
struggling
Usher.
to
I can
recall
say
'cause
that
I'm
much
not,
right
no,
now.
definitely
I'm not
Usher.
steeped in my musical
Tupac,
lore right
Biggie,
now.
right? Like, there's a lot of hip hop from that era that I love.
Now
man.
that shit, yeah. See, that was where the profundity is only ever happening where it's happening, and like the authenticity is only ever happening where it's happening. It's not happening everywhere at once. It can only ever happen where it's happening. And it's
Right.
like- and it's like, and I find that true in like spiritual movements too. It's like there was a time when like certain Christian movements had the spiritual authenticity happening, and then that was taken over by this like commercial serpent, right? And the same shit happens in all kinds of other movements, whatever it might be, like a spiritual movement would be taken over. Like yoga meditation is so popular, and like they became, like mindfulness meditation became like a corporate like drug
Yeah.
to like allow like people who are like fucking people over every day to feel better about themselves because they can clear their mind so easily. And it's like that kind of like, that kind of thing is happening all the time at every level of everything. So that like authenticity only exists where it exists in that moment, and you just find it where you find it, and you just got to appreciate it there.
I just got my second unpopular opinion.
Well,
I'm
hang
gonna
on, but-
fucking wait until you
Oh,
do
you gonna
yours.
do
But
that?
that was thank you for saying that because I'm about to.
Rail on mindfulness meditation or
no.
mindlessness meditation.
That's hilarious. Mindless. Yeah. No, it's in that it's you'll hear it. Go ahead, Bill.
Can I pee? You guys?
Oh, yeah,
you guys
do your
mind if I
thing,
go to
bro.
the bathroom?
Yeah,
We'll keep this
sure,
going.
of
We'll keep
course.
this
Drinking this
going.
mad bourbon. You
Yeah,
guys
take
just-
a break.
We're just
Come on.
we're gonna keep doing our profundity right here. It's only happening right here.
What is
No, you're good.
what's profundity mean?
Profound.
But you could just say wow, it's like a noun?
Yeah.
Profundity.
Yeah.
I kind of want to wait for him to come back for me to do the second
No.
unpopular opinion.
Let's wait.
All right.
What you been up to?
Well, I've been how did you enjoy your Sunday off?
I didn't have it off.
What do you mean?
We drove all day back to Jacksonville. Then I had to play a gig.
For the record, we didn't drive all day. Sean did.
Sean
our
drove all
bassist,
day.
and
I
you
slept.
But yeah, let's talk about how you sleep.
Yeah.
You slept the way that you were just really into communion is what it was like you were doing.
What?
You had your knees down on the altar, and you just put your head straight down on the seat.
Yeah. Oh, so for those who, I was on the floor of the van.
Yeah.
And I rested my head on the seat. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you were just out.
I was out. Once I did that, I felt so comfortable. And that's how I used to sleep in high school. That's how I would sleep through
Your
class
body
like
is
that.
so strange to me too. The second thing is you squat. all
Yeah,
the
I'm a
time.
squatter.
You squat. Nobody squats.
I know, it's very strange.
Why is that strange to
Because
you?
it
Because
is strange
everybody
to me.
should.
No, it's strange. It's strange to me that I do that.
Yeah,
'Cause I
it's
notice nobody else
very-
does that.
It's very, very weird. It's like
It's comfortable.
almost as like the way that like a lizard would like stand on their
Okay.
hind legs,
Yeah.
like some sort of reptilian person, because it seems very uncomfortable. But I've seen him squat for hours.
Yeah.
It just like I'm just gonna squat like this and then just be on my phone,
Yeah.
or not even be on your phone. Just like have a cigarette and then just squat, and it's just weird to me.
It's comfortable, yeah.
It's
But anyways,
not
we did that for 5-6 hours, whatever it was, back
Squatting?
to Jacksonville. No, the driving, and then I had a gig that afternoon.
Oh yeah, where'd you play?
ABBQ.
Oh yeah, they took real care of you there, right?
Oh yeah, and
You like them a lot.
they took real good care of me this time around.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm happy. I did not do that. I slept forever, and then I went. What did I do? I can't even remember. I hung out with Carrie the whole time.
Oh, nice.
It was very nice. And then I went to Publix, and I got a cinnamon broom and a pumpkin, and I'm not carving it.
Why?
That's
a good unpopular opinion.
It's not even an unpopular opinion. It's just every man's opinion. I hate crafts. You hate crafts, right?
Yeah.
Me and Aaron were talking about this a couple of days. Well, we were waiting for you to come over before we left on tour on Thursday, or Friday. Sorry, whatever day, I can't remember. But I was talking to her like, I'm not gonna see my girlfriend for a while because I got like two tours. That's so hard to say. 2 tours in a row. So on Sunday, her favorite thing to do is to craft. That's every woman's favorite thing to do. It's going to have a very, very interesting take now. But basically, no man wants to do that, and I think it has to do with the masculinity, which is we want to complete something in the fastest way possible, the most efficient way possible, right?
Yeah.
And crafting is the opposite of that.
Right.
It is just you just going around and just fucking just the fun of it, heavy quotations, is just making it.
Yeah.
I hate all of that. Just as if I can. But anyways, did you see that cinnamon cat, a gingerbread cat that's in there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my Sunday.
Yeah, it's just so that you just crafted.
I love
That's
you
cool.
so much that's what I did. Is I crafted a fucking gingerbread cat for you.
It's a beautiful way to spend an afternoon. Man.
Yeah, okay, to each their own. Anyways, my first unpopular opinion is, and this is great, I hope Jeff Bezos dies in space. And I'm talking, like, if he's going to bring up another fucking American Jim, like William Shatner, or I don't know who's, like, if he's going to bring up Betty White, I want the whole...
Betty White?
I'm just saying, I want the whole thing to explode on entering the Earth's atmosphere, and everybody sees it.
I love all the memes comparing Jeff Bezos to Dr. Evil. It's fucking so funny.
God, it's like the exact same thing.
So funny. Yeah, yeah.
I just want to
fuck
die in
that.
space.
Yeah,
fuck
that
him,
shit.
right?
I mean, yeah. I got off Amazon Prime, I think almost 4 years ago now.
Wow.
I'm
Missing out on some good shows, I will say.
No, I'm not. I'm not, dude. I'm not missing anything.
Do you like
I'm not missing anything.
You're about to though. Do you like
I
Lord of the
have
Rings
no regrets.
at all?
I love Lord of the Rings, yeah.
Do you know that Jeff Bezos bought the rights to Lord of the Rings?
Fuck Jeff Bezos,
And that he's making a
dude.
Game of Thrones style TV show about Lord of the Rings?
That's garbage. That will be no good.
He bought the rights to it for $850 million.
That's
which
fine.
Is
I've got the
fucking
books,
pocket
man. I can
change.
just read the books again. Like,
I'm so
it's
excited
fine.
for it. Like, I'm definitely watching it. Like, obviously Jeff Bezos like dying in space, but also just everybody else make an animatronic fucking Walt Disney version of them, and
there's
keep
something
it
to be
going.
said for powerful people paying for really good art. It's always been that way.
Yeah, and it's
Medici's,
true.
whatever.
And
It's always been that way.
And maybe that's my other unpopular opinion is that I don't actually hate that.
You don't hate what?
Dude, there's nothing to hate.
I don't.
You hate it. You're resisting the universe.
Yeah, like I don't hate Jeff Bezos. I don't hate Amazon. I don't hate
Yeah.
I don't hate Amazon.
I don't hate Amazon. I just don't think it's the highest good for the society. So I
agree.
don't
of course
support
not.
it. But I don't hate
Society
anyone,
right now is not
really.
promoting the highest good of anything. That's
They're
why
not.
we're
It's
in
all
consumer
money,
culture.
Yeah,
exactly.
Money
So
grab,
that's-
there's got to
and
be somebody
Amazon-
else.
And I'd rather support smaller things.
Oh,
That's why I
100%.
don't- That's why I don't support Amazon
100% was
as much as I can.
When
yeah,
he
I agree.
he had that press conference and he just said to everybody in the camera, "I want to thank all of you for letting me go to space."
Yeah.
I wanted to strangle him through the TV.
Yeah.
Like, fuck you. For
Dude, he's
saying
winning,
that.
dude. He's got your feelings all twisted around him,
Right.
man. He's
Yeah.
winning.
Yeah, 100%.
He's
He
winning.
might be a little tone deaf, but I mean, he's doing a lot. There's a lot of good things that are happening as well.
If he gave away $119 billion, he'd still be a billionaire, and that's the way I think of it.
All right.
So fuck
Yeah,
him.
that's it's weird. Money's weird because it's like we talk about things in lump sums of money, but that's not how they are.
Right.
They're really measures of influence and power that people wield.
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
this weird arbitrary imagined thing. I just don't think about it a lot anymore
Well,
it's like
because
because I don't have a lot of it and I probably won't ever. So like I'm just kind of like, but yeah, like it's easy for me to get bothered by a guy like him as well.
For sure.
But I try not to get bothered
If
by
it's
a guy
not
like
money,
him.
it's something else. You know what
He
I mean?
can-
I'd rather it be money than brute force, right?
Yeah, fair
like,
enough.
I mean, there's
There's
like
a bit of that too, though.
It's never.
They don't treat workers too well.
I have a friend that works for Amazon that's fucking crushing it.
He's
over
not in the
there.
warehouse,
Oh, yeah.
and you and I both
because
know that.
because they hire from within, and they will if they want you to relocate, they pay for all the expenses.
So there's a bit of a
They-
ladder going.
Full
Yeah.
fucking benefits. I mean, like,
That's good.
don't get me wrong. Like, you might have to start off doing grunt work, but
Yeah.
you're still getting paid like close to $20 an hour when you're starting out,
Oh, that's
and it's close. I mean, we don't have to get into
That's
all of
not
it,
what
but-
that's not what I've heard ever before. So that's cool to hear. That's
yeah,
awesome.
that when people tell me that, like when I hear all the rumors about it, it surprises me because I have a friend that literally started from the bottom and has been working his way up.
like in warehouse work.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm talking like the lowest of the lowest.
Cool.
And was
Well,
like,
that's encouraging.
and he was always like, yeah, it's not great, but and the pay's not amazing, but he's like the opportunity for growth. He's like, and they give you stocks. So, you know what I
That's
mean?
good too, yeah.
Yeah, it's like Publix does that too. It's like there's all these benefits that come with it, and so I hear shit like that. I'm like, okay, is it doing damage to society on some level? Probably.
Is it neo-feudalism like a little bit?
Yeah.
But like, are there some extra perks that you didn't get in like OG feudalism? Like, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It's just-
Like, sure.
yeah, I don't know, man. I just like I don't.
They're giving them cotton to make their own shirts.
I just
That's so
Look,
nice of them.
it's all about perspective, man. You know what I mean?
Hey,
That's true.
That's
this
true,
is
man.
what segment is this?
The unpopular opinions.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unpopular opinion.
Anyways,
All
hope
right.
he explodes on re-entering the air shaft.
So okay, so my
100%.
My second
his dick
unpopular
rocket,
opinion
like
is go back to what you were saying earlier about how things kind of get caught up in the commercial zeitgeist, I guess, and get turned into something that's like not these good ideas with good intentions turned into something that are not so great. I feel like science is becoming that thing right now.
Dude, whoa.
Science is becoming something that's not.
great. Yeah, I'll go there with you, man.
do you mean?
I'll go there with you.
I believe that like Lazuli was saying earlier, how religion, like there's probably like these nuggets of, or these periods of time where Christianity or any movement really had a real profound impact on society, where there
a
was
vision, a clear vision that actually lent like efficacious, like potency to the emerging possibility of where things could go.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I believe that science has been usurped by the masses to be used as a weapon.
Yeah, it's dogmatic.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
dogmatic religion now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Where to the point where we're not
100%.
using science anymore to rationalize science. We're using emotions as a mean. We're using science as a tool to subjugate people now.
Yeah.
And that's the same way that religion was used to subjugate people after a certain point, and the same way that every other trend really at some point or another. And science has become a trend.
Can you give me an example?
COVID.
Okay. Now I know what you're trying to say.
You know what I mean?
No, I get it.
What-
They're just like, we're gonna have like a biased opinion and have an experiment to prove that biased opinion. Is that what you're trying to say?
What I'm saying, yeah.
That using that instead of another supreme power, which would be religion.
No, is
that
it
what you're saying?
no? What's they're using they're using this thing which is obviously very dangerous and real. Okay.
Yeah, the
But-
idea is like corporate sanctioned science, like science that has been signed off as kosher by the establishment is the defining word of truth.
Oh, I see.
Whereas that are like those, like the science that's being practiced at that level is inherently corrupted by the monetary incentives that are driving it.
Exactly.
So that you don't get like real science. You get a perverse, like lower shadowy science that is like dogmatic. It's a dogmatic it's a dogmatic religion that is based on the very things that all dogmatic religions have been on. Having been raised in a very dogmatic religion and having seen that bullshit constantly from a young age, it feels no different at all than the public discourse surrounding COVID.
Right.
At all. Like the feeling that I got growing up in a fundamentalist church is exactly the same feeling of like how people talk about COVID, dude. That's my unpopular opinion too.
Yeah.
Like, I'll fucking go all the way on that shit.
100%.
I kind of get what you're saying.
Yeah,
but
I'll
yeah,
probably
I
get flack for
I
it,
kinda
but like
disagree
that's
with you, but
yeah.
No, I know,
no,
but
it's just an unpopular opinion, so that's the whole point.
Yeah, it's the whole point. It's to disagree. It's the whole point.
And there's just
Because
certain,
it's truth. I mean, that's like mathematical truth.
yeah, because like, we know that
Period.
there's certain things being put into place that just like, why are we doing that? We're going beyond what the science is telling us, and we're just doing things now as more of a statement than as to say that I'm a good person because I care more than you
what
do.
do you call that?
And it
Versus-
doesn't just have to do with COVID. There's a
virtue
replication
signaling?
crisis
Across the board.
Yeah,
100%.
With everything in science right now, there's a replication crisis going on. Like you can't replicate the experiments that have been like posited as like, you know, the pinnacle of like scientific achievement. Like people
Can't do it again, is
aren't
there?
they're not
Really?
able to replicate themselves.
Interesting.
Like there's a replication crisis going on because most of the experiments that are being done, they're being funded by these certain like entities that have desired outcomes, and the scientists involved are consciously or unconsciously attempting to adhere to those outcomes that will get them funding, which is just natural survival mechanism.
kidding, man.
This is what
And
I
you're
was-
trying to get funding, and so you're adhering to those outcomes
Yeah.
subconsciously or totally consciously. You're either manipulating data or you're just like wishfully believing these things. And what's weird is like the belief you have in an outcome has an effect on the experiment, which has an effect on the reality, and reality is showing itself to be fucking so wishy-washy.
Yeah.
To start with, I don't know where the beginning and end of this thing is, man. Like, I don't know if I can say that it's like corrupt or if it's just the way things are, that like reality is so malleable that it just like bends to our will.
That's
like,
what
there's weird magic in the
Well,
universe too.
I
like,
think that's
science is weird, man.
That's a
All
good
I'm saying is
unpopular
like
opinion.
like science like should be able to question science. That's like
That's the
like
whole
and if you
thing,
can't
right?
question science, it's not fucking science.
That's what they do every time they do an experiment. Everybody questions them and
Yeah.
then peer
But-
reviews it, and then it
Yeah.
becomes
Ideally.
It's
but is that what
ideally-
really happens?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's-
Not always.
It's what we were
Not
talking about.
always.
With
Not always.
You
Not
and I talked
always.
about this recently,
No,
right?
I know. I
With the
just
global warming
that's not
thing.
what
yeah.
I believe on private opinion. If it's science and all these
God,
people.
I'm gonna get fucked for this podcast,
No,
you
bro.
guys.
No,
You
no,
guys
no,
have fucked me.
No, bro.
maybe your local shyness and this will actually go viral. Everybody will start watching us now. No. All right, here's
We need a martyr, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't want to
So-
be a martyr. I'm
All
not
right.
willing.
No.
Not willing.
Yeah,
I'm
nothing
going
you
on record.
says-
I'm not willing to be a martyr. I don't
Nothing you
don't think
says-
it's worth it. I don't think any of this thing is worth fucking dying for. Like I think everything's fucking bullshit, and I don't want to die for it. Like I really don't. Like I don't, dude. Like I think like everyone's full of fucking shit. That's my unpopular opinion.
haven't-
I think everyone's on fucking like on a fucking ego trip, man. Like everything. Every fucking opinion going around is bullshit, dude.
Everybody-
Every opinion going around is fucking bullshit.
That's
and
actually
does
true.
not take in like the fucking reality of life. I'm drunk enough to say that right now.
Well, everybody's got an opinion. You haven't said anything.
Nothing wrong with having an opinion.
Yeah. Just
All
don't
I'm
say
saying
it.
is
Doesn't
no
mean
one's
anything.
opinion is going to encapsulate reality.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah,
100%.
that's all I'm saying. No one's opinion is going to encapsulate reality. That's my unpopular opinion, is that no one's opinion is going to encapsulate reality. Therefore, I'm not going to subscribe to anyone's opinion.
Yeah.
And when I'm asked of my opinion, it's going to be ambiguous. It's going to be self-contradictory. It's going to be like, informed by many myriad streams of fucking ideas
I
that
love it.
that all contradict each other, because life is way too complex for us to swallow it and pretend we fucking understand it.
I love it. I'm into that.
Okay,
That's good.
I'm on one, dude.
Bill, what's your? This is your second one, right?
This is my second one. This is about music, and this is actually a good one because
Cool.
both of you will never not agree with me. Ghost notes are not notes.
I agree with that.
And then grace notes are better.
Okay.
First off, Ghost notes are for sure notes.
Unpopular opinion, and no, they're not.
That's not an opinion. This is fact. Okay, they're being played.
What key are they in?
What key is anything that the drummer's doing in?
They're tuned to stuff.
Oh my god, that's funny.
It's
Grace notes, ghost notes.
Yeah, grace notes are better.
This shit all falls into the soup of unmeaning to me.
I know. I fucking love it. This is a good one. I wrote this down. I was like, this is a fucking good one.
that's something only a non-musician would say.
Come
I will
on,
say.
talk about it though. That's why
got a strong
why I
opinion.
wrote it down.
Yeah.
I've got no opinion.
To be fair, I don't
that's-
really believe this. I don't really
I've got
believe
no
this.
opinion about this.
I don't really believe
Music
this.
is music, man.
Yeah, it's just music.
I mean, if you play a microtone, what is that?
It's
Like if you play a
Yeah,
ghost
what
note,
note is
that's
that,
not-
Bill?
It's like
that's
a
note
little
between the
tone.
note.
It's
What
a
if it's a
little
note between the note between the note?
that's not a note.
I mean, this is like opinions too, though.
No,
This is
I
like
know.
opinions too.
I know.
It's all the same shit.
It's a real
like,
sound, though,
what
right?
if
It's
it's
not
a note
opinion.
between the note between the
That's
note.
kind of
dude.
science, though, right? When that actually makes the sound, right?
I was trying to be facetious.
We actually hit a string and it actually makes a sound, but the vibrations exist in reality,
oh my
right?
goodness! This is not actually my opinion. I just thought it'd be a funny thing to say. For first off, like they're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Ghost notes and grace notes. That was before I wrote down that ghost notes are not real. I wrote grace notes are better than ghost notes, which is just funny to say because it's kind of
That
the
is
same
funny.
thing.
Almost
Yeah.
the same thing.
It's
yeah.
almost the same thing,
Yeah.
except
Yeah.
grace notes you can actually write down on a piece of paper, and ghost notes you can't.
Yeah, I
Right?
mean, I don't know.
You
I
cannot write that
I also
down.
don't read sheet music, so I don't know.
No, that's the truth. Grace
Yeah.
notes, they're so cute. They just got like a little thing
Cute.
with little, yeah. There you go. But you can actually write them down, and they're in classical music all the time. Ghost notes, so spooky you can't fucking take a picture of them.
Mostly drummers use them, or like percussive.
And yeah, like
stuff,
bassists and
yeah.
stuff. They use
Yeah.
stuff all the time.
Guitar players
I just
too.
I was just fucking, just being stupid.
You're just being an instigator.
Yeah.
All right.
I like it. I like it.
I like that
honestly.
one, right?
So-
I like it. Yeah.
My third unpopular opinion
Spooky
is
ghost
that
notes.
I want you to give me all of your unsolicited opinions about my show, and then extra bonus points if you're not a musician, and then extra bonus points if I don't know you. So
So you could be like, I really liked what you were playing, but then you started doing all this fucking dancey stuff.
which actually happened the other night
I
at
know.
1904.
It's like,
Yeah.
well, I like all the Grateful Dead stuff you were doing, but then you started getting a little bit too new age. And then
Yeah,
we
well, he
said,
did say the Grateful Dead
New-
stuff because we don't do Grateful Dead
Right,
stuff.
right,
but he was
right.
like, he's like, I like
Like
you
all
guys
the
start off
jammy
like
stuff.
you guys start off like really funky. I like the funky stuff that you were doing, but they got a little too new agey for me.
and when he said new
Oh.
age, he means because I was playing a synthesizer.
yeah,
That
and
was-
another guy came up. He was like,
New
you know,
wave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
New wave.
No, not.
No, he said new agey.
He said new
That's what
age.
said.
New
though.
age.
Yeah.
Were
And
you
he's-
playing like synth pads only with like? Were you burning incense?
No.
No.
They didn't even
Burning
get
incense,
didn't
yeah.
close.
Or
It
you,
was definitely not
yeah.
new agey. It was definitely more
I
like
was
dancey,
throwing
synthy.
patchouli in
Yeah.
the crowd. Is that
Was
what
there
they were talking
Sanskrit
about?
involved?
Yes, there was Sanskrit involved. I was building ziggurats on stage, and they were like, "Just do a new age for me." I was like, "I'm trying to build a temple."
Fuck.
Another guy came up to me afterwards
stupid.
and was like, I feel like you're a better guitar player than what you did in this band tonight. And I was like, okay. He's
Wow.
like, and I feel like there were some
Wow.
notes.
Dear Jesus
Damn,
Christ.
dude, that cuts deep.
There's some notes where like
Who's this
where
fucking
you
guy?
really like were like digging into some notes where you kind of were like missing stuff. And I was like, mm-hmm. And then he was like, and I feel like your keyboard player was kind of started to steal the show.
Yeah,
and he
that'll
really
happen.
shouldn't have done that.
That'll
And I
happen.
was like,
Which show is that?
I don't know who you are.
Who let this
And
guy in?
I didn't even ask you a question about what you thought of the show.
What show
I was
is that?
buying a drink, and then you just said something to me. Do more of that kind of stuff, people.
Yeah.
We love it.
We love it, dude. It
We
makes
love
us,
it.
Yeah,
Especially
it really
when you have
fuels a fire.
no background in music education or understanding of what it means to
I
play an
told
instrument
you.
or write
Madness.
a song or anything. Please come up and tell us how we could have been better.
Yeah, we don't come to your job until you had to flip burgers. You know what I'm saying?
It's fucking right.
Yeah. Anyways, my last one is I can't wait for Trump 2024 debates.
Yeah.
Like straight up, that's gonna be the best fucking television.
Is that
of
gonna
all
happen?
time. Oh yeah, it's coming.
I've not been
Trump
paying
just-
attention lately. to
Trump
be honest.
DeSantis, he's already having rallies and everything like that.
Oh boy.
I just want him to go back on and then somehow lose again. That would be great. Like really icing on the cake. If he wins again, that would probably be a weird another 4 years. But I'm just trying to say I want to watch those debates again. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you know Sean Gillis? I think is his name, the comedian.
Oh, yeah.
He has this little bit that he has now about Donald Trump. It's like, wow, has it been long enough that we could say Donald Trump was funny again?
Yeah.
And then he's like, no, like back to back, like Trump debate winner of all time. Like he just came out and said that Ted Cruz, your wife looks like a dog. Just straight up during that. Like you can just say that.
There's no
It's
because
like, no, I don't agree with that. I was like, no, we all know you. I can't do Donald Trump. It's like we all know you have a dog wife.
oh my
And then Ted Cruz, like 2 weeks later, was like, Donald Trump for president for sure. Just let it get away with it.
Yeah.
I want that. I want
dude.
that stuff.
The
Yeah.
weird groveling stuff that was going on.
It was so fucking funny. In a
Dude.
nihilist way that the world was ending. But
Politics is weird, man.
yeah, it is
People
weird.
are fucking. They'll give themselves all the way away.
There
They
is
will just let themselves like fucking be reduced to such ridiculous cartoons, man.
I love it.
There's
I love
nobody.
it so much. I just
Yeah.
love watching like just men just like really strong, powerful men just crumble. That like just him who has no history in politics at all, just coming up and just be like,
Oh, he's got a history in politics.
whatever. But the fact that he's never had any office of power or anything like that, and then coming in and just being like, nah, wrong, like that to Hillary Clinton that time. God, it was so fucking funny, man.
so
so funny.
Before he became the president, and during the debates, and in a way, him becoming president was kind of revealing,
Why?
because what he showed
Yeah,
was that you, as a senator,
yeah.
as a congressman, as whatever you are,
can't say what they want
mean
to.
nothing.
Yeah.
And me,
Yeah.
as the corporate interest, means everything.
Yeah.
Because guess what I can do? I can get up here and tell you that you have a small dick, that you have a fucking dog wife, that you have this and you're all this and that, and I can sit here and talk about like how fucking awesome I am,
Yeah.
and how much, and this person should go kick the shit out of that person for
Yeah.
doing this. I can say whatever the fuck I want, and I win, motherfucker.
I love it.
That just goes to show everything that's wrong in this country.
I know, and
Yeah,
I love
it shows
watching
that,
it
like,
burn.
that there's so little like there's so little care for what for the like intellectual framework of our society. Like
100%.
and our society actually has a pretty profound intellectual framework.
It does.
And we're like, and there's so many of us willing to give it away completely and try to remake it without fully understanding what's there to begin with. I don't fully understand what's there to begin with, but even the bit that I do know, I'm like, there's a lot more to it than what makes it in our everyday debates. Like our society is interesting and like and kind of like unparalleled in history. It's like there's been nothing like this before, and I don't think we should throw the baby out with the bathwater, man. Like
Definitely not.
There's a bunch wrong. Like there's so much wrong, and there's so much to do with human rights, and there's so much to get right with there's so much to get right that we have not gotten right before with race, gender, and with like just the understanding of like people being people. Like human beings are very complex and can take so many different tracks through life and different forms, and can take on different like identities, and that's not really like if we can get that right. I don't know what I'm saying, really. All I'm saying is that I don't want to see this country devolve into civil war, and I don't want to see people killing each other over like ideologies. Like I want to see people finding common ground between their ideologies and like making peace with one another. That's what I want to see. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Like there's
man.
like there's so much ideology going around, and ideology, like I don't know. I really love Terrence McKenna. Like I think he had a weird fucking wisdom about him.
Yeah,
and,
totally.
And he always talked about ideology being, not your friend specifically. Culture is not your friend. Ideology is not your friend. And he's right. Like those things are memes. They're ideas that want to perpetuate themselves. Like they're like working along the like you know, they're trying to survive. Like an ideology wants to survive, and it's gonna like
parasite or a virus.
Yeah. And so like an ideology serves a purpose, but you have to keep it in check with reason. You have to keep it in check with like, okay, well, there's this other ideology that sits in direct opposition to this ideology, and both ideologies have something valid to say about, you know, and then this third ideology has something to criticize on both the other two ideologies, and there's a fourth ideology that has something to criticize in the other three, and there's a fifth, and it goes on, you know, ad infinitum. And like we pretend like there's two ideologies, and we pretend like there's two political parties, and that's fucking bullshit,
I
dude.
agree.
It's fucking bullshit.
All I'm trying to say is I miss Monday Night Raw featuring Donald Trump 45. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm watching this as entertainment. To me, it's just like, look at the rich people yelling at each other.
No, I think you get it. I think that's
I'm
that's
right there with
accurate.
you. I'm not a fucking
I think that's accurate.
Trump
dude.
thumper. I just miss that fucking just like
That chaos.
God, he was so fucking funny, dude. Just him just like just sniffing the whole time Hillary Clinton talking, him just going wrong. God, that was so fucking funny to me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess I like when it comes down to it, I am a little bit of a nihilist. Like,
dude, yeah. I mean, just because there's so much classist bullshit going on, and everyone's pandering and pretending like they're like fighting for the little man, but they're fighting for them fucking selves.
That's one of my favorite
Like,
things ever.
Yeah.
Trump has never known and will never know what it means to be in a financially rough spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's
Even when he's pinned against the wall with like bankruptcies,
100%.
Like,
that's what.
he's
That's
still in a weird like untouchable place.
There's a certain point that there's a certain status that you get to in society where you will just never be broke.
There's no way.
You know what I mean? And like that might be like a I don't know, an advantage to being in the society, because like technically anybody could get to that point, but at the same time, his legacy of who he is it does reveal like we elected the bully.
Yeah.
Right, everything you were taught as a child about to not be a bully and respect everyone, this and that. Like we just as a society, we prove that to be not true.
Yeah.
Right. Along with every other piece of information that we learned from elementary school, whether it be history or whatever it was, we learned again that we were lied to, and the bully does win, unfortunately, until we decide.
But he lost too.
He lost, bro.
He definitely lost.
He lost, but it was like. I mean,
he lost, and then
he lost. But I mean,
this gets pretty weird. If you want to try to get to the reality of all this, I think it gets really weird. And I'm not professing to know the reality of this, but I think the reality is different than that which is commonly like paraded around. So I think the reality of what's going on in the world, I mean, is not what you're gonna hear on like, you know, like news outlets, not because anyone's like fucking in charge of all of it and they fucking figure out how to deceive everyone, but because the world is so infinitely complex that the narratives that we tell about the reality of life aren't real. They don't actually connect with the reality of life. The narratives we tell about the reality of life are narrow as shit, and they don't describe the reality of what's really happening.
That is the best way I've heard described ever, because I've always tried to like figure out like how do you explain this without sounding like there's some kind of like Illuminati.
I don't think there's any big conspiracy. It's like Terrence McKenna said, like Trash Panda had a song called No Control. It was, and I wrote it based on Terrence McKenna's idea that nobody's in control. That's the way he said it. He's like, nobody's in control. Like the world's too complex. Like no one can be in control of all of it. You know what I mean? Like that's how he talks.
Yeah,
about
that's
it,
a good impression actually.
Yeah, and he's like, nobody's in control. You know, like, and it's true. Like, how are you gonna control the impulses of every insane human being on this planet?
Right.
And how are you gonna like pretend through ideology or propaganda or whatever to have a grip on people's opinions. I mean, you can do it to an extent, and you can manipulate numbers, and you can create polls, and you can influence
movements and
massive
stuff,
amounts
yeah,
of people and
100%.
move huge groups of people to do amazing things. And there's always going to be those other people standing by with crossed arms like, today I took a shit. I ate breakfast. I thought about life. People who are grounded and they're like, wow, my life is actually like, the reality of my life is grounded in what I did today and not in like this ideology that I believe about the world. And there's always going to be millions of those people as well who aren't swayed quite as easily.
Kind of like the watchdogs of society.
Yeah, and it's in humility, man. It's like that's where the strength is in the humility of like people who don't profess to understand the arc of civilization or like pretend like humanity's on this great linear path toward the stars, like through our civilization, that somehow humanity is going to evolve to the stars unbroken from like the consumer like capitalist paradigm, and then all of a sudden now we're like traveling to Alpha Centauri, Alpha Proxima, and we're going to like meet other civilizations. Like bull fucking shit, dude. What we're doing is we're experimenting with different ways of moving resources around, and we're doing it badly, and we're going to fail, and out of that failure maybe we'll learn how to do something else, and then maybe tens of thousands of years from now, maybe we'll be in that situation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
After like many civilizations have risen and fallen. That's why I'm not a nihilist, but I'm a very long-term thinker. Yeah. I'm like, okay, so like evolution, like we're one of many, emergences of like anomalies.
And like maybe at the end it'll all mean something when we're like, dead and buried like thousands of years later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe then something like I had a vision once. I had went on a psychedelic journey. I went and like
blows my weekend out of the water.
I was stabbed in the spine by the mantis god and sucked into the heart of the earth and shared thoughts with the earth about its like cosmic lover, like eons into the future. And it had nothing to do with my life. And the earth made sure that I knew that it had nothing to do with my life personally, that I could just live my life, and that like the grand arc of like the evolution of life on earth was so much bigger than me that I didn't even need to fucking think about it. Yeah. That's what it taught me.
Well, that must have been an interesting Thursday night.
It was. And I think it was like a Monday morning.
Monday morning, Jesus Christ.
It was pretty wild, dude.
I don't know.
I'm sharing too much on this podcast.
You
guys need to delete all this.
Awesome.
That's okay. I was gonna say
this is great.
This is too much. This is too intimate. I'm scared now.
It's not at all.
Feeling anxious, attached. I think I want to run away now.
We got like 50 listeners, so you're good, bro.
Okay, cool. Cool. I'm
good.
safe. I'm safe. And they're okay.
I just don't think but what Terrence McKenna said, like no one's in charge for sure. I agree with that to some extent. I do think it's very funny that like the same people that like we didn't even like this person, and they're the ones who are running for president.
They keep coming back.
They keep coming back, and like how's that happen? I mean, there's somebody like kind of controlling a little bit.
They
but
are.
I mostly agree with you.
Yeah.
I'm not like the Joker. I don't want to watch the world burn. I just kind of like pretending for a moment that I'm not part of this planet, and then I can look at it and watch and be like, haha, that's funny, and then like pandemic happens, and then I can't fucking be myself. So
no, dude, totally. That's why the thing I think is the most heroic thing we can do is to make order in our lives and love the people we're close to and create harmony together and like nurture life together. If we can nurture life, we can nurture plant life, grow food together. If we can nurture like our children together, if we can create like harmonious, supportive relationships together, that's the most heroic thing we could possibly do on planet Earth. Far and above any activism you can do. That's the most active thing you can do is go and say like, I love you. Like, let's let's create life together, like not necessarily like
don't know.
make
Basically
a baby,
start a
but you
band.
know what I mean. Like
Oh,
let's start a band. You know what I mean? Start a band.
Beauty. That's what C.S. Lewis had said. That truth, goodness, and beauty are the only things that would make human.
And who said it
life.
before him? Aristotle, right?
Yeah.
Like fucking who said it before that?
Yeah.
Like Pythagoras, probably.
I
don't
just
know.
want to know how many
Plato.
How many
Let's just start
followers?
saying old names.
Truth and beauty. Well, who was it? I can't remember which
I
one it
don't
was.
know. I don't
But it
know.
was truth. It was
Beauty and
truth,
goodness.
Beauty
C.S.
and
Lewis.
goodness. Yeah. But he wasn't the first. That was what I'm saying.
I
It's
don't
like
know if he was the
ancient.
first, but yeah, it's probably ancient. That
Ancient.
was to prove the existence there is a creator.
Yeah.
Mm.
My question is, how many followers do I need to get into a space shuttle with Jeff Bezos? All right, and then I'm gonna hijack Con Air, Nicolas Cage style, that fucking bitch. And I'm gonna drop him everywhere. It's like we're gonna explode this thing, or you're giving me $50 billion. Take that, Dr. Evil.
That was good.
Is 100,000 followers, you think? 1 million followers? How many followers do I need to be?
Hey man,
How
it's
many
probably
followers William Shatner have?
it's probably like 100 million, but like you can do it, dude. I believe in you, Billy.
That's my
If we
life
get
mission.
bottom of the bill to 100 million followers, Billy will hijack Jeff Bezos' rocket.
It's fucking. I want to go in his dick ship, and I want to be in orbit. I want to float with him for a little while, get him real comfortable, and then just come back with fucking just get him.
Oh, like yeah.
Well, if you have 100 million followers, then they're all going to see this podcast, and then it probably won't happen. So,
Whatever, dude.
whoops.
Just know it's coming.
Oops.
I'm just saying, just fucking. No one can hear you scream in space because there's no air.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no sound
There's no
won't
music in
travel.
space.
Yeah.
All right, so that went off on quite a journey. And you had a lot of unpopular opinions. But if you want some, if you want
a
your last
lot of
one,
unpopular
if you
opinions,
want
dude.
your
I'm-
last
you
one.
want one to wrap it up
I guess
with?
I'm kind of deplorable. I'm not a. It's funny. It's funny too because I'm not like. I don't stand for any political party, man. I don't. And I don't think any ideology is gonna save the world or save this country. I think like I literally am cliche enough to think that love is the only thing that's going to save us. Simple. It's naive and it's humble, and that's true. It's true.
That's what Skinner wrote about. Simple man, right?
Simple man.
Just keep it simple. Basically, that was like the
Shine
whole
down,
philosophy.
dude.
Fucking
Come on.
true.
Shine down.
I mean, it's true, man. Like, it's true. And I'd love to like be able to sit here and like I'd love to be able to wield a bunch of popular opinions, but I think like the truth of what I've experienced in my life is that I don't have a lot of control over it, and that it is contingent upon the participation and behavior of everyone around me, and it's contingent upon their grace and their love for me and for themselves that I can continue to exist at all. And so if I live that way, and if other people live that way, then we'll continue to exist and we'll figure out how to thrive. But if we get caught up in ideology, then we'll relearn how to kill each other again, like every revolution in history, every unfruitful rehashing of the same bullshit that's happened. You call it different names. It comes down to like people, fighting each other over an idea of how the world should be. And those ideas are usually spacey and somewhat misinformed, and they sound good. They sound really idealistic, but I don't think they're real. And that's how I feel. Maybe I'm getting old. Maybe I'm getting fucking, maybe I'm not cool anymore. But that's how I feel.
It's that Bob Dylan song. He's I was so much wiser then. I'm younger than that now.
Yeah. I feel
like,
that way.
There's like this kind of thing where like when you're young, like you got it kind of figured out, and as you get older, you realize like you don't know shit, which is really like how you start off in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's pretty
Gotten
profound.
older, I know we need that fucking wall. You know what I'm saying?
You that fucking what?
That wall.
Oh God.
Trump 2024 is what Billy's saying, guys.
Fucking wall
I'm-
just got
I'm bored
20
with
feet
it,
higher.
but-
You know what I'm saying?
Oh my
I miss
God.
him so much. It was so funny. Remember when he said he was gonna nuke a hurricane? Does nobody remember that? He said, "I don't know. What are we gonna do about Hurricane Dorian? Has anybody thought of nuking it?" Leader of the free world. Queen and all
Madness.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. That just proves that madness is the order of the
Yeah.
age.
I fucking
Madness
love it.
is
I miss him.
is the order of
If he's
what's
listening-
going on now.
If he's listening, Donnie, I miss you and I love you, and I just hope that
Donnie
you're
boy.
doing okay.
Donnie boy.
Bring back Donnie. Hashtag 2024.
Donnie gets it done just for the debate.
Donnie gets
Oh
it done.
Jesus.
Or just let him have Twitter back.
That's how it all started.
The only reason why he won for a presidency is because they wouldn't give him a football team. That's facts. He loves football more than anything. He tried to buy the New York Giants. Of course, you're not going to give it to him. And he was just like, all right, well, then I'll buy a USFL team. So he bought a USFL team when that started back in the 1983, I think it was. And then he fucking sued the USFL so he could get enough money to buy an NFL team. And he fucking didn't win. And now look what happened. Just give him like ownership of a team.
Yeah, ownership.
And he would have gone away. None of this would have happened. 100%.
Wow.
Watch the 30 for 30 is all I'm saying.
So sports are great for our society, then, is what Bill's saying.
Of course, they're the opiate of the masses.
Go Jags.
All
Go
right.
Jags.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's been a pleasure being with you, and thanks for hanging out today, man. This
Oh,
is a
this
lot
is
of
an
fun.
awesome
Thanks-
podcast. It's
thanks
one of my
for having
favorites,
me.
without a doubt.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate it, guys.
Hell yeah, man.
I'm sorry to all of you who are offended by my opinions.
Nobody's offended.
Nobody's offended. They're good.
Nobody's
Cool.
offended or amused. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't care. They don't care either way. That's
Alright,
just
well-
how I want it.
I guess we'll see you next week. So, adios, muchachos.
Bye-bye.